Worst ratings in the country by the health watchdog. The Care Quality Commission said the Trust had to review its performance as a matter of urgency to ensure good quality service. More from Tony Fisher.
In its annual A&E patient survey, the CQC listed Milton Keynes in the top 10 for emergency provision that was worse than expected. Only last month, health regulator Monitor said the hospital had failed to fully address concerns about both its finances and A&E. The hospital says they've been doing a lot of work to improve patient experience in accident and emergency.
Reforms have come into effect for stamp duty announced by the Chancellor George Osborne in yesterday's autumn statement. Estate agents have praised the move, saying it will stimulate the housing market, but Labour has said the Conservatives have no credibility after failing to meet their targets to cut the deficit. 7 people, including 3 children, were injured in a road crash in Milton Keynes last night. The emergency services were called to Watling Street in Bletchley near the junction with Wadden Way after a 2-car collision at around 9:45. Firefighters had to release an injured man. 3 women, 2 boys and a girl were also hurt. Hertfordshire singer-songwriter James Bay has landed the Critics' Choice Award at next year's Brit Awards, following the likes of Adele, Ellie Goulding and last year's winner Sam Smith. The 24-year-old from Hitchin will perform at the Brits nomination party next month and was also part of the Rolling Stones London concerts last year, as he told BBC Introducing on BBC Three Counties.
It was Hyde Park. It was, I guess it's kind of a festival atmosphere, and it all feels like, really cool, like it would. And then you kind of realise that you've got, the Stones are on the same bill. When I played, everybody it was at the beginning of the day, and everybody just crowded up to the stage, and I got amazing response. It was really cool.
In sport, Chelsea remains 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League after a 3-0 win at home to Tottenham. Second place Manchester City won 4-1 at Sunderland. The weather cloudy with outbreaks of rain or drizzle and feeling cold, a maximum temperature 6 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Well, I think it's the place that has everything.
Telling everyone about where you live.
I love it. I don't think I'll probably ever move away.
All this week, we're discovering Bedford.
I love the history of Bedford. I've got a lot of old history books of Bedford.
We love it here. We love it. We love the river. We just love everything about it.
Yeah, there is a sense of community here. It's very, very good.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
We love the river. The river gives us life. Gives us life. It is the life juice from Mother Earth.
It's nice, the Bedford River.
There's a lovely song there.
From Lenny Marlin.
What? I can do Terry Wogan.
Go on. Do it then.
I just did.
Oh, OK. Do it again.
Oh, it was a lovely song there.
Oh, no.
Coming up, Helen Dedicote, the voice of the balls.
No.
You like that, don't you, Lockers?
I think that's a good one.
You know what I'm doing here? I'm doing a Wogan.
You're doing a Wogan.
Hey! Give me something to say in the style of Wogan and I'll say it.
Well, you've got the menu. You can do that in the style of Wogan.
Coming up on the show today. It's good, isn't it, Lockers?
It's borderline offensive, is what it is.
Nurses on the beat in Bedfordshire. Hospital misses a beat in Buckinghamshire. It gets harder when he says words I don't know what he said. I've never heard him say. And Justin Daly avoids getting beat while getting the word on the street. I've gone all Gordon Brown now. With his dancing feet. There's a lovely song there from Alan Dedicote. The voice of the balls. I can do Wogan.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Slightly feminine.
You're on air.
The slightly feminine, confused...
Pairs of headphones for one thing.
The slightly confused feminine northern voice you heard there wasn't Catherine Boyle's. It's of a higher register. It's certainly not of Kelly Betts, as she's a Cockney. It's of Matthew Lockwood. Good morning to you, Matt.
I'm just getting back into the swing of things on this programme. Good morning. These are the right pair of headphones.
He's not making eye contact. Regular listeners will know that Matt is very detrimental to the show's output. And last time he was on, someone texted in asking if he'd won a competition to come and to come and hang out with us all morning. You know, he's actually a professional paid by your licence fees. Isn't that true, Matt?
It is.
Although it has to be said, he makes most of his money as an Alan Bennett impersonator.
Yes, he does.
Don't you?
We're not. We're
Are
not.
you all right? What was that?
I just need to clear my throat.
Go on then.
Thank you.
OK. I noticed we're not doing the story this morning about your satellite dish. That's a shame. The way this show works is we have a meeting every morning at about 10:30 that Kath takes and Tony Fisher is rude in, and people throw stories. They don't. Kath comes up with stories, but sometimes people throw stories in. And Matt's story was that he might have to move his satellite dish 3 foot.
And not just me. Many, many people. On one street, there are 19 satellite dishes to move.
Oh, good, he's doing the story.
OK, right. So you've got to move your satellite dish, otherwise you lose Sky Atlantic.
Possibly.
Wow. And he thought that you'd be interested in that.
I mean, we all like Boardwalk Empire.
It's amazing. I mean, it's a big story, this is.
It's a great story, Boardwalk Empire. No, it's fantastic.
There are 10 conservation areas in Watford. They've all had this survey, and all of them have to do,
I tell you what,
maybe something.
Because of the unique way the BBC is funded by suckers, we can put this out to them. Are you interested in Matt's story about his Sky dish being moved?
Is it moving up or down, Matt?
Well, it'll have to be moved up.
By how much?
By about maybe 2 metres, just below the roofline. At the moment, it's in the middle of the property, just above.
If you're interested in Matt's boring story about his Sky satellite dish, then do give us a call. 0845. What?
It's not boring.
08459 455 555.
It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair, but her mummy is yelling no, and her daddy has told her to go, but her friend is nowhere to be seen. Now she walks through her sunken dream to the seat with the clearest view, and she's hooked to the silver screen. But the film is a sad thing for she's lived it 10 times or more. She could spit in the eyes of fools as they ask her to focus on sailors fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go. It's the freakiest show. Take a look at the long man beating up the wrong guy. Who's in the best-selling show? Is there life on Mars?
Oh, that's the funniest thing I've ever read in my life. Thank you so much.
It's on America's tortured brow that Mickey Mouse has grown up a cow. Now the workers have struck for fame, 'cause Lennon's on sale again. See the mice in their million hordes, from Ibiza to the Norfolk Broads. Rule Britannia is out of bounds, to my mother, my dog and clowns. But the film is a sad thing more, 'cause I wrote it 10 times or more. It's about to be writ again, as I ask you to focus on sailors fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. I do apologise. We have an internal communication system here, and been sent a very powerful message on it. Very powerful. Now, mental health nurses are going out on the beat with Bedfordshire Police. It's part of a host of new measures combating the rising tide of police incidents involving mental health. Well, currently that figure stands at 1 in 4. We can speak now to GP Dr. Judy Baxter, who is the clinical director for mental health services in Bedfordshire. Good morning, Judy. Tell us more about this agreement.
Oh, good morning. Yes, yesterday was a very exciting day for Bedfordshire and Luton in the world of mental health, because we got all the organisations together who help to provide services for people in a mental health crisis, and they signed the local mental health crisis concordat. agreeing to work together to try and improve services for people.
Is it in response to a Bedfordshire-specific problem, Judy?
No, this is a national initiative. The government published their crisis care concordat in February, and they asked everybody to work on a local agreement before the end of December, so that we could all sign up and agree to work together.
So why is it needed? What instances have we heard of?
Well, it is thought it's a national scandal how mental health patients, when people who are experiencing a crisis, how they are treated. It really should be treated in the same way as a physical health emergency, like chest pain or if you're short of breath. When in a crisis, it should be considered a serious problem and should be. I mean, it can be life-threatening, and people do unfortunately sometimes die. But what happens is people are taken to too often they're taken to a police cell to wait, and they often have to wait for hours and hours in A&E to be seen. So really it's felt that a lot of work should be done. In actual fact, in Bedfordshire, we had already started to do work, and there have already been improvements made. But the benefit of this concordat is that there'll be a higher priority given to it, and we'll perhaps make a bit more progress.
So what are the changes? Is it better education for the police? I mean, there was a story either this week or last week, wasn't there, of a young woman held in a police cell because she was mentally ill, but there was no beds for her. Would that kind of incident come under this remit?
It will, yes. And unfortunately that does happen, that people are...
That's quite common, isn't it?
It is, yes. Although it has reduced, I believe it has reduced by a third in Bedfordshire because of the work that's being done between the police and our mental health provider, SEPT. But
and that's not the police's fault, is it? That's lack of resources within the mental health sector.
It is, yes. I mean, it is difficult. We can't have people sort of waiting around just in case somebody comes along. That we haven't got the resources to do that. So it's a matter of rearranging how we work and making sure that we see people better. We probably need to make arrangements to make a better place for people to be taken. But these things are quite difficult to work out, and obviously there isn't extra money. No. So we have to save money elsewhere to make the new arrangements work.
The declaration has been signed, Judy. How long do we know if before it's been successful or not?
Well, we've signed the declaration, which is a commitment, and we're now working on the action plan together of all the different things we need to do. And we started the work yesterday after the signing event, and there are so many different bits to it. So it's going to be take some time to sort of come towards deciding exactly what's the best thing to do. We need to do that by March. And then we've made a commitment yesterday that we want to hold another event in 6 months to see where we've got to. And I know, I mean, this is a national initiative. We keep being chased from the centre. So we know that we will be being asked, what have we achieved, what have we done? And also we're all really keen to make a difference and make it better for people.
Judy, are you normally up at this ridiculous time of the morning? You sound very perky.
No, I'm not. No, but it's something I feel very passionate about. So
we really appreciate you getting up extra early for us. Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you.
OK, thank you very much.
That's Dr. Judy Baxter, Clinical Director for Mental Health Services in Bedfordshire. It's funny, isn't it, Catherine? That was that story. I don't know. I've lost track of time if it was this week or last week, of that young woman who was held in a police cell, I think, for 3 nights, 2 nights, 3 nights,
I believe.
Because there was no. It was in Devon, I think. I'm kind of clutching at my mental straws here. Because there was nowhere for her to go, and the police had to come out and kind of make a big fuss about it and say, we've got this woman, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, a police officer tweeted about it, didn't he?
But it was odd that it became such a big story, because this happens, I wouldn't say all the time, but it happens a lot of people with mental health issues. There are no beds for them, so they stay in police cells.
And there's also the point that people are dealing with mental health issues on their own, and they only get picked up on because they commit some sort of crime. Yeah. They become a pain to someone. Do you remember we did that story about flashing and how we should take it more seriously, and how people sort of laugh and joke about it, but actually it's something that needs dealing with. Yeah. And we had a phone call shortly afterwards from that person's sister, who said that he was dealing with acute schizophrenia at home. He'd become a bit of a pariah in his tower block where he was living.
Not to justify his behaviour, but saying that if this had been acted on earlier, then...
She said that he acts out and then he gets attention. She said, but otherwise he's just left to his own devices, and she was really worried about him.
Thank you, Catherine. 08459 455 555. BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the travel, shall we?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there's been an accident just after junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road involving 3 cars, so that is blocking 2 lanes at the moment, making it very slow past there southbound on the M1. Having a look at the A1, and that's moving fine at the moment on the speed sensors and no problems at the moment on the M25, but on the North Circular Road, it's starting to build up westbound between the Clockhouse Interchange and Bounds Green Road. Having a look on the trains, and Great Northern services have 25-minute delays between Stevenage and King's Cross. That's because of a signal failure earlier on at Finsbury Park. And on Thameslink services, there are delays because of a signalling problem as well. On the London Midlands trains, there is a replacement bus service running between Watford Junction and St Albans Abbey. That's for engineering works, and that'll be going on until the end of December. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Blimey! 6:17. It's Thursday, the 4th of December. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Nurses trained in mental health issues are being deployed alongside Bedfordshire police officers. Police in Bristol, searching for a missing mother and her newborn baby, have found a woman's body. An accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the health watchdog.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday from 3.
Good afternoon, welcome to the show.
Local people.
What's your story?
Seems there's a law for them and then there's one for the press, and I disagree with what they're saying.
Local views.
In some cases, sort of 40% loss in value on their properties.
Has Kelly and Luton got it right?
There is a responsibility when you're paid from the public purse.
Local life.
Do you want to know how much my carer's allowance goes up by every April when the tax year changes? £2.
Roberto Peroni.
And is it fair to target people on benefits?
Weekdays from 3. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Boyley joins me in the studio. I'm assuming that's to get away from Wandering Hands lockers.
Not at all. Do you know what? He smells really nice today. And I said, oh, you smell good. And you went, yeah, I've had a wash.
Have a sniff of that.
Oh, no, please.
Have a sniff of that.
Oh.
Do you know what that is? That's the smell of a... Sorry? I wasn't talking to you. That's the smell of a 15-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Lynx Apollo.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, Lynx Apollo, ladies and gentlemen.
It spoke to my 15-year-old girl.
Didn't it just, though? I mean, people knock Lynx, but flipping it was all I had today. I wish I had Africa. That's the smell. It really sums up the essence of the continent of Africa. All I've got is Apollo, which smells like a space mission. But I smell good, don't I?
Oh, yeah.
Matt, you were going to say something. OK, now you're not.
He just smells clean.
Matt,
smell clean.
Matt, we've discovered, pays more for his haircut than me, and I pay a lot for my haircut.
Yeah, but it's once in a blue moon, once every 4 months. So
what?
40 quid once every 4 months is nothing.
Gosh, you spend more on your hair than I do.
Yeah, that's
You've got more hair than I have.
pretty obvious, Elliot.
I get a head massage as well, and I get a cup of coffee and a nice biscuit and the chat to me, and it's like a day out.
Oh, again, nice biscuit.
Do you know what I've got? A recliner seat. You know when they wash your hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want a legs up and a massage? Yes, I do. Yeah. I always regret it though, because that chair that they've got, it's got like little nodules in it.
The massage chairs are rubbish.
And all it does is kind of annoy.
Yeah.
And it concentrates a lot on the backside.
They're too short because I have to go like this, literally, when I'm having my hair done.
No one is comfortable with the old the sinks where you put your head back and have your. No. They're not. Is that warm enough? Yeah, it'll do. But they really hurt your neck, and I'm constantly tense in that position.
Do you know what would be better?
Go on.
What my mum used to do, which was get you to stick your head over the bath.
Yeah, I'll do that, and then she'd plug in the adapters on the tap, and then you're like a little shower. Old-fashioned shower.
Take notes, salons.
Yeah, take notes, salons.
Take notes, salons.
All right, mate, we said that.
In your face.
All right, steady on. Let's not get
your head.
offensive. Hey, guess who's on Radio 4 tonight? On Front Row, the arts programme. The arts.
Catherine Boyle.
No,
they've not woken up yet.
There's a T in that word. Front Row, Radio 4, the arts programme. Guess who's on it, Lockers?
Justin Dealey.
No!
Me?
No!
I tell you, you'd be really good on it.
It's who?
Roberta.
No, it's me. I'm on there reviewing a karate film.
Simon Oxley?
No, it's me. I'm on there reviewing a karate film on Radio 4.
Tim Wheeler.
Right, stop that. there's the Small Faces. Get yourself together. Ian McLagan, the keyboard player, died. I like the Small Faces. They're one of the kind of undervalued groups of, I believe the 1960s, the swinging 60s, I believe they're called. How can a decade be described as swinging when people still had outside toilets?
And a bath once every fortnight.
Oh, dear, dirty. Oh, I used to have a bath once a week. Sunday night was bath night. How weird is that? Dirty 70s.
We had stuff to do. Emptying the coal bunker.
Yeah, that would be it. We had a coal bunker.
I used to dance on the granddad's coal bunker.
I used to like it. Oh, excuse me.
What was that?
That was... that's... Scott, can you stop texting me? I'm doing a radio show, mate.
Scott. Time and a place, Scott.
I used to like it when the coal man would come, because a big truck would pull up and then he'd come marching through the house, filthy, and dump the coal off.
Do you know what I liked? When the pop man came.
We didn't have a pop man.
Yeah, pop man.
Yeah, well, that was up north, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was like the 1930s. Now, the Care Quality Commission is urging Milton Keynes Hospital to take action after putting its accident and emergency on a list of underperformers. Milton Keynes is 7th in the roll call of 10 casualty departments doing worse than expected nationwide. Now, when it says 7th out of 10, because they're the worst ones, is number 10 the worst one? Or number 1 is the worst one? Thank you very much indeed. Management has been told to review its performance as a matter of urgency. Catherine Boyle has been looking into this. What more does the CQC say?
Well, they compiled a national patient survey which polled patients who used A&E departments across England and Wales between January and March 2014. So this is recent stuff. It looked at arrival, waiting times, the doctors and nurses, care and treatment, environment and leaving. Milton Keynes finished 7th on a list, as you say, of trusts whose scores were graded worse than expected. The CQC stated that those trusts on the list have to review their performance as a matter of urgency to ensure they deliver good quality A&E services across the areas included in this survey.
Now, what's been the reaction from the Patients Association?
Well, Dr Mike Smith from the organisation sympathises, saying A&E departments are under pressure, and if you're one of the 600,000 patients waiting longer than 24 hours for treatment, it's a disaster. He says things aren't helped by the fact that nurses to patient ratio has gone down from 1 to 8, but it's the level of trust in the doctors and nurses which is the most worrying.
Well, here's some audio that we've got.
If you look, for instance, at the report, although they say, it's positive that 3 out of 4 definitely had confidence and trust in the doctors and nurses, but what about the other 25% who don't? If 1 in 4 don't, that's serious. And it's points like that that the report endeavours to be positive, because, in fact, fortunately, the majority of people are still saying quite good things. But if you compare it even with 20 or 30 years ago, you'd have had 100% saying they definitely had confidence and trust in the doctors, virtually 100%.
Milton Keynes Hospital came in for criticism recently, didn't it?
Yeah, just last month, health regulator Monitor said the hospital had failed to fully address concerns about both its finances and its A&E department. Monitor said they must develop a plan to ensure patients don't wait longer than 4 hours to be seen at A&E.
And what does Milton Keynes Hospital have to say?
Well, we've had a statement through from the Deputy Chief Nurse and Head of Quality, Jane Naish. She says making sure patients feel listened to, well-informed, valued and respected as individuals is really important to us, and it's clear to see that we have improvements to make. We've been doing a lot of work to improve patient experience in A&E, including investments to improve the space and facilities available, to help us continue to improve and make sure patients have the best experience possible in our A&E department and across the hospital. We're also asking patients to give us their ideas as to how we can make their time with us as positive as it can be. Now, as we know, health services across Bedfordshire and Milton Keynes are currently being reviewed, with the possibility that one site will see a significant downgrade of A&E services. Yeah. Although Milton Keynes currently has plans for a new £21 million A&E department, the government said it won't make any decisions until that Milton Keynes Bedford review is completed.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Can I heard an amazing thing on, what's that radio station called? 5 Live.
Yes.
And it was the autumn statement yesterday. I hope, did you enjoy watching the autumn statement, Matt? OK.
I learnt a new term, massosadism. I've no idea what it is, but it sounds naughty.
Sounds like a lot of fun, dear. The autumn statement yesterday, which, let's be honest, no one really understands. We all pretend we're excited about, but no one understands it and no one really cares.
The bit I picked up on was they're getting rid of stamp duty.
But then they're putting stamp duty up for more expensive houses.
Yeah, but we don't have to worry about that.
Here's the thing. I know somebody who had a house. This is a friend of mine. Sold their house for £1 million, right? But the threshold for stamp duty is £1 million. So if you go over £1 million, you have to pay a lot more stamp duty. So they sold their house for £999,999.99.
Yeah.
And then £10,000 was exchanged in a brown envelope.
Wow.
So that's what happens. If you put the stamp duty up, then people find ways around it.
That's why they're richer than me.
That would explain it. But there was... I just want to play a clip of this. This was the Commons yesterday.
I call the Shadow Chancellor Mr Ed Balls.
OK. Oh. Yeah, come on, guys. Guys? These...
It's a room full of Tony Fishers.
Order!
This is...
Order!
Thank you. This is what the meeting is like first thing in the morning if Tony Fisher's in the room. But those are the people running the country, right?
Yeah.
Those are the people who I have been arguing deserve more money.
Yeah. Don't sound like the kids on the back of the bus at school.
If we did that at school, we would get a wallop.
Out! Boyle, out! Lee, out!
Then we'd be out in the hallway together. Awesome. Then we can mess around even more.
But you get told off and I wouldn't. One time I got sent out, the headmaster came down the corridor, started to worry.
Yeah.
He assumed I was there on some sort of obvious business because I was such a good girl. I couldn't possibly be in trouble. So we had a little chat and he went on his way.
How did you become head girl?
Popular vote.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there are 3 lanes closed now because of an accident just after junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road, and it was completely closed a moment ago, so they have reopened one of the lanes. It's causing queues to junction 11 for Dunstable Road at the moment. Having a look at the M25 anti-clockwise, and that is starting to build up between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. And in Bricket Wood on the North Orbital Road, it's looking very heavy around the M25 junction 21A roundabout. On the trains, Great Northern have 25-minute delays between Stevenage and King's Cross because of a signalling problem at Finsbury Park. And on Abellio Greater Anglia services, there are delays between Hertford East and Broxbourne, and that's because of a points failure at Ware. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Nurses trained in mental health issues are being deployed alongside Bedfordshire police officers. Police and Crime Commissioner Ollie Martin says it's one of many new measures they're introducing across the county. Police searching for a missing mother and her newborn baby have found a woman's body. Charlotte Bevan walked out of a hospital in Bristol on Tuesday evening. Her daughter is still missing. Accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the health watchdog. And Hitchin singer-songwriter James Bay has landed the Critics' Choice Award at next year's Brit Awards, following the likes of Adele, Ellie Goulding and last year's winner Sam Smith.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Chelsea remain 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League after a 3-0 win at home to Tottenham. Second place Manchester City won 4-1 at Sunderland with Sergio Aguero scoring twice. Arsenal beat Southampton 1-0 with a last-minute goal from Alexis Sanchez. Here's manager Arsene Wenger.
Well, it was a difficult game against a good side, but overall I think we deserved to win. It was a victory of patience, intelligence, and we kept our structure well. And overall, it is an important win against a good side.
And Everton and Hull drew 1-1. Luton have sold their extra allocation for the Boxing Day trip to Wickham, meaning over 2,600 Hatters fans will be at Adams Park. And Luton's home game with Portsmouth 2 days later is also now a sellout. Meanwhile, with no game this weekend, Stevenage are holding an open training session for fans at their Bradbury End training ground on Saturday morning. England's cricketers won the rain-affected third one-day international in Sri Lanka by 5 wickets under the Duckworth-Lewis method. They now trail 2-1 in the 7-match series, but captain Alistair Cook is facing a suspension if England are found guilty of a slow over rate. There will be a record 21 Formula One races next year compared to 19 this year. The Korean Grand Prix returns with a new race in Mexico. The British Grand Prix at Silverstone is on July the 5th. And a report out this morning says the Tour de France's visit to the UK this summer was watched by 4.8 million people and generated around £128 million. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
That's not your radio breaking. That's actually a BBC employee. What's his job description?
Who was that?
That was Matt Lockwood, who's filling in for Kelly Betts. Who's filling in for, nobody. Wow. What's his job title? Is he a BJ?
To assist. I'm assisting you this
morning. So you're
a
BA?
Yeah, this morning.
What are you normally, a BJ?
BJ. I've gone down one.
Were you laughing at? I'm a BJ as well.
Gone down. I'm now a BA.
Do you guys not know what you're saying? You're both BJs?
Yeah.
It's not funny. My girlfriend says that to me all the time. She thinks it's hilarious. You're a BJ. Well,
I was going to start a cover band.
You're a BJ.
Yeah.
Of the Bee Gees, called the BJs, with a colleague. I thought it was funny.
It's not. Well, it is funny, but you know what? Do you know why it's funny?
Yeah, broadcast journalist.
Okay. 08459 455 555. So when you hear people in the House of Commons doing this...
The Shadow Chancellor,
not
Mr.
this.
Ed Balls.
Do you not just think, flipping it, you idiots are running the country? In any other environment, you'd get the boot. And this is what they do.
The House has not yet seen the detailed... Order!
And fair play, Ed Balls is not the greatest speaker anyway.
You know what that is?
Go on.
That's a room with not enough women in it. That's what happens. You lot run amok. It's Bants gone wild.
Oh, dearie me. I think 08459 455 555. Does anyone else think that's the most ridiculous noise in the world? Hey, should we play a good song?
Yeah, go on.
Bit of Matt Monro.
Yeah.
Right, so Matt Monro, he was a milkman, and then he became like a crooner because someone heard him singing a song and they thought, oh, fair play, he's all right. But it kind of in the 60s, he wasn't particularly hip. So I'm just trying to find it. That's why I put it.
Are you playing Born Free?
No. That's exactly what I'm not playing, right? So he was trying to become a bit hip, so he recorded a protest song. Protest songs are in.
Yeah.
Right? But he's not quite understood the protest movement.
Shirley would gulp down her breakfast, shut the fridge and join the throng. Margaret Beatty snatched the milk and scanned the news and went along. Annie Harris drew the curtain, screwed her eyes up, had a peep, saw the marchers, heard their voices making early morning noises, stumbled back to bed and tried to sleep. Come with us, run with us, we're gonna change the world. You'll be amazed, so full of praise. When we've rearranged your world, we're gonna change your world. Shuffling through the cold black morning went the marchers, spirits low, grunting greetings, grimly pressing on to where they had to go. When the sun came up, they brightened, stopped to have their thermos brew. Annie Harris got up gladly, pondered for a little sadly, then got on with what she had to do. So come with us, run with us, we're gonna change the world. You'll be amazed, so full of praise. When we've rearranged your world, we're gonna change your world. At their target, numbers swollen, up the marchers' banners go, chanting, shouting out with leaflets, protest for everyone to know. Sit in front of all the traffic, harried, busy, shopping wives, try to stir their ostrich notions, whip them up to wild emotions, put some fire into their wretched lives. So come with us, run with us, we're gonna change the world. You'll be amazed, so full of praise. When we rearrange your world, we're gonna change your world. Shirley Wood was dragged, still sitting by a policeman from the road. Margaret Beatty had her face slapped by a man she tried to goad. Annie Harris in the office paused in typing, thought of Don, glanced again at his last letter, died for others to live better, brushed away a tear and carried on. Come with us, run with us, we're gonna change the world. You'll be amazed, so full of praise.
on, lads.
We're gonna change your world. Come with us. We're gonna change the world.
It's quite jolly, isn't it?
It's jolly. Has anything really changed? Has anything really changed? It could be singing about today.
You think that's the soundtrack in Russell Brand's mind?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Matt?
You could make cakes to that song, actually. It's nice when you could, put your sugar in, put your eggs in.
OK, thank you very much indeed. I mean, thing is, that's all real. That's all
He's not
real.
doing a voice.
What have you got in the papes?
The lesbian couple who kissed in the Royal Festival Hall were the wrong...
Is that a euphemism?
No, it's a place.
Oh, yeah, South Bank.
This is the lesbian couple who were ordered to stop kissing during a meal at the Royal Festival Hall because they were in a family restaurant.
Hey.
Do you remember when we did the two gay guys kissing on a bus?
Yep.
There were no pictures of them, were there?
No.
Do you remember when we did the lesbians who kissed in the supermarket?
Yeah.
There was a picture there, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah.
There's a picture of both of them here, so we can imagine the scene. I imagine that's what they're doing it for.
Yeah.
Lydia Coulson, 29, on the left, said she gave partner Ruby Jones, 30, a kiss on her cheek and a peck on the lips at the canteen.
What were their ages?
29 and 30.
OK, that's fine. It's odd to find a couple so close in age, isn't it? Normally there's a few years disparity.
No.
OK.
I think my mum and dad are about 3 months apart.
Well, that's weird. OK.
Works, though. Works for them.
Are they lesbians?
No.
OK, I'm just trying to get a correlation. And maybe
My dad likes girls.
OK.
Lydia Coulson, 29, left, said she gave her partner Ruby Jones, 30, a kiss on her cheek and a peck on the lips at the canteen of London's South Bank before a member of staff demanded they stop what you are doing. A shocked Miss Jones challenged her by saying, "Is it a family restaurant or a homophobic restaurant?" The canteen subsequently apologised, leading cabaret artist Miss Jones to add, "They messed with the wrong lesbian."
Yay.
Go girl. The couple are now working with the restaurant to organise an event to raise awareness of homophobia.
Oh.
Good.
Well, no need to have an event.
I know, but flipping it. Kiss who you want.
But the Royal Festival Hall is quite artsy-fartsy.
Yeah, you would
You'd have
think.
thought they'd have loved that stuff.
And it's in swinging London.
Yeah. Laugh sentence. Caught in hysterics as posh lawyer translates slang.
Oh.
A court was left in hysterics after a barrister tried to translate slang texts for the jury yesterday. Mark Paltengi, who is in his 50s, had jurors in stitches with his explanations of the messages sent by 4 youths accused of shooting at houses with an air rifle.
Okay.
One text, which read, "Hurry up, I've got bare haters around me now," was translated by the prosecutor as, "Hurry up, I've got a lot of people who don't particularly like me here." He told Snaresbrook Crown Court in East London that, "Hurry up, I've got a strap on me, this is bare bait," meant, "Hurry up, I've got a gun on me, and this is really risky." Oh, bless him. I like it when things have to be explained in court by posh people completely out of touch with the real world.
I had a very posh English teacher, and we liked it the other way around when he would talk to us in slang, but in his usual voice like this.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't... You do a bit of slang, do you, Matt?
Yeah, I like the expression, "I'm going to smack that," which means I'm going to really do good at that. So I'm going to smack that exam or smack that wherever. Yeah.
Is that northern? It's been a while since...
No, that's down south, that is. That's, London town.
Street. Oh, he's doing the fingers.
Yeah.
I'm going to smack that in a minute, and what I mean is I'm going to smack your face.
I'm going to punch your face.
I'm going to punch your face.
I'm going to punch your face.
And look,
Let's not have any punching, boys. Come on.
Punch you in the face.
You see, he's got previous.
I'll punch you in the face.
Yeah? And he's got previous on this.
I like your coconuts.
Oh!
I think you're great.
Tell us about your holiday. Matt went to possibly the most hilariously titled resort I've ever heard of.
Where'd you go, mate?
No, it wasn't. No, it was Villa de Palma.
You told me it was Club Coco Bongo.
No, that's the other thing. That was a night out.
You went to Club Coco Bongo for a night out.
Yeah.
What the hell happens there?
Well, basically, it's like a nightclub, or a club, as you say. I'm so old-fashioned.
A disco.
I'm only at 30 years old, Jesus.
Sorry for that language, by the way, for anyone who doesn't like blasphemy.
Oh, yes, sorry about that.
Which is the majority.
For God's sakes, man.
This is work
Stop
experience. And basically, they have a stage in the club, and they play film snippets, and then the dancers dance. And so they had a snippet of a Captain America film, and then there were Captain America and the evil baddie, and they were just fighting. Mock fighting.
He didn't tell us any of this when he came into the office. Instead, he showed us a video of all the women stripping off.
Yeah, as nurses.
That was how that story went. What else have you got in the papers?
Men are changing shape.
Oh, yeah, go on.
As is their wont. Men are now taller, stronger, healthier and fatter, yes, fatter, than they were in the 50s, research reveals. 50s man was a sturdy beast, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Sort of triangular.
Yeah.
Big shoulders, small waist. In 1954, the typical British male was just over 5'7", which is a very reasonable height to be.
Yeah.
Weighed 11 stone 6 and had a chest of 37 inches and a waist of 34. He wore size 7 shoes, had a collar size of 14 and a life expectancy of just 68. I'm sure Dennis in Dunstable is sitting there thinking, yeah, that's me to a T. But today, Mr. Average is 5'9", weighs 12 stone 6 and has a chest of 42 inches and a waist of 37. That's diet, that.
And
lifestyle.
We get taller, don't we? I met a fella the other night who was taller than me. I love it. I love meeting people who are taller than me. It gives me a little glimpse as to what it's like to be normal.
Which circus were you at?
I wasn't. I was out and about, and he turned up. You seen this video of this fella? He pretends he's killed his son for a laugh.
Always hilarious.
It's what it is mum and dad playing on a balcony on upstairs. And the boy's dressed up as Spider-Man. The mum goes downstairs. He swaps the son for a dummy. And as she comes upstairs, he throws him over his shoulder over the balcony. Now, you're trying not to smile.
I'm not, because I know that this story, and I didn't watch it because I thought, what a prat.
A dad plays a vile prank on his girlfriend who thinks he's held their little boy to his death. It's a bit stupid,
prank,
isn't it?
I mean, prank.
Yeah.
Prank is, I've pulled his arm off. Not, I've lobbed him over the balcony.
She rages at the dad. I hate you. Why would you do that? And that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I hate you. Why would you do that?
That's weird.
08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there are 3 lanes closed just after junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road after an accident involving 3 cars. Those queues are still to junction 11 for Dunstable Road, but it's also starting to look very busy on the approach to the M1 on the Airport Way and also on the A5 southbound through Dunstable too. Having a look at the M25 and anti-clockwise, it's looking very busy between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. And in Bricketwood, the North Orbital Road is very busy around the M25 junction 21A roundabout. On the trains, Great Northern have resumed a normal service again between Stevenage and King's Cross after the signalling problem, but on the Bellio Greater Anglia services there are delays between Hertford East and Broxbourne because of a points failure at Ware. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. 6:46. It's Thursday the 4th of December. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Nurses trained in mental health issues are being deployed alongside Bedfordshire officers. Police in Bristol, searching for a missing mother and her newborn baby, have found a woman's body. And accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the health watchdog. We'll speak to Justin Dealey in a bit. Let's get the weather. Here's Alina.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning to you, Ian. A cloudy, cold day. The cloud thick enough to give some light rain and drizzle at times, but damp rather than overly wet. But any brightness is certainly going to be limited by the extent of the cloud. And quite a raw feel to the day, a high of 6 Celsius, 43 degrees Fahrenheit. Still cloudy tonight and still thick enough in places to give some light rain and drizzle. But with all the cloud cover, it will keep temperatures above freezing at around 1 or 2 Celsius. Still cloudy tomorrow morning. Another grey, dull start to the day with some light rain or drizzle. But it is an improving picture through the day as a cold front pushes its way south and eastwards. Behind it, some brighter skies and perhaps a bit of sunshine to end the day. But under clear skies overnight tomorrow, we'll see a cold and frosty start as we go into Saturday morning. But Saturday will be dry with plenty of sunshine, and that's your weather.
Your world. It's full of the things that are important to you.
The main reason the hospital's full to bursting is that so many more of us are living longer, getting more poorly, suffering complex problems, and taking longer here to recover.
From what's plain to see to what's beneath the surface.
Now, this is one area which has been highlighted as being a drug hotspot, and it wasn't...
The more you know about your world, the closer you feel to it.
There's a commercial oven and a table that have drifted past us on the water. They've come out of the ruptured cafe down here. At the
Your local news matters on BBC Local Radio, TV and online.
This is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Catherine Boyle is here.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello.
Justin Dealey is there.
Buongiorno.
Oh, he's speaking foreign.
Justino.
Oui, oui.
Hang on.
Just been.
Yeah. He said that. He said the same joke that a 3-year-old might do. Well done, Justin. You're right.
Yeah, I'm all right, boss.
How did your fella yesterday, Chris, came in, who'd bid ridiculously? I mean, we met him, and he didn't look like a drug addict or anything, or a lunatic. He bid 620 quid to come in, to go out on the streets with you. And yesterday, boy, wasn't yesterday cold?
It was freezing, yeah. So he's bid £600 to come out onto the streets, and this Saturday between 12 and 2, he'll be co-hosting my programme. I've got to say, he knows his stuff.
Yeah, he was poning you, mate. When we met him, he was poning you.
He was.
Yeah.
He's very, very keen. Yesterday morning, he was running up to people saying, "Hi, I'm from Three Counties Radio." Whoa, Chris, chill out.
He's enjoying his moment.
He was.
He was a very, very nice gentleman, and it was very nice to meet him, but it was cold yesterday. I slept in my long johns last night. My pyjamas are all dirty, the cat weed on them.
Oh.
The boys had locked her in. The boys had locked the cat flap, so she urinated, and I found it 2 days later on my pyjamas. So I was wearing my long johns.
Wow.
Oh, it was cold.
Why would a man wear pyjamas, though?
Sorry?
Why would a man wear pyjamas?
What do you mean?
It's not very... How can I put this? It's not very sexy, is it?
Depends how you wear them, mate.
No, it's not. Come on.
Kath, as a woman?
I don't mind. Depends what's in them, innit?
Me?
Well.
Oh. Only pyjama bottoms. I don't wear pyjama tops.
Oh, that's all right then, yeah.
But I wear a T-shirt or something. What do you wear in bed?
Nothing.
Oh, no, I can't do that.
What if there's a fire?
If there's a fire, my flatmates, they're going to be lucky.
Wow.
Oh, dear. I tell you what, do you know what? Can you go out on the street and do that a bit later on?
Yeah, of course.
Pyjamas, we'll do that. We've got something a little bit more serious for you, but 08459 455 555. I stay in a hotel on a Friday night because I work away, and I've just, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, started taking my pyjamas with me to the hotel, because normally I'd wear my pants.
Oh, this is so sad.
And I just started wearing the pyjamas in the hotel, and it's wonderful. I feel so grown up.
There'll be men listening to this right now just shaking their heads in absolute disgust.
Pyjamas are the best.
I'm not trying to impress men, mate. I'm trying.
I know that, but it's not a manly thing to do. You know, being a guy, you've got to be sexy, okay?
On your own?
Yeah, wearing pyjamas, wearing slippers, this sort of thing.
I love slippers.
It does nothing for men out there.
I'm tempted, and I've thought about this, to have a pair of work slippers that I leave in the studio, because I take my shoes off when I do the show. I do the show just in my stocking feet.
Yeah.
And I'm tempted to have a pair of work slippers.
Do it.
Yeah, okay.
No,
I will.
Come on. How old are you?
I'm 41.
41?
Exactly, I'm the right age.
No, you are way too young to be wearing slippers at home, let alone work.
You can't, and also, this sleeping naked, I can't, because I like everything to be contained.
I don't.
08459 455 555. Whose side are you on, ladies and gents, mine or Justin's? Now, you can go out and do that. We've also got something else a little bit more serious.
Yeah, this is in a number of the papers this morning. Smokers and the obese have been banned from having routine operations unless they lose weight or stop lighting up. Regional health chiefs have brought in the temporary measure as the government tries to save £20 billion in healthcare costs.
So it's not everywhere, is it? But
no, and they've been threatening to do this for a while, haven't they? Different organisations. Under the rules, patients with a body mass index of more than 35, so that's in brackets morbidly obese, although there'll be people out there who can test this whole body mass index thing, would be asked to lose 5% of their weight before planned surgery. Smokers will have to prove they've kicked the habit for at least 8 weeks before they can go under the knife.
Only 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Well, no, to be honest, it takes about 3 months before you start noticing any difference from giving up smoking.
I think there's two sides to this. Obviously, the smokers, as a smoker myself, I would argue, hang on a second, I'm putting thousands of pounds into the system every single year by smoking, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
But when it comes to...
So that's fine, but the fat people?
No, but if I'm going to have an operation, I'm technically paying for it by the money that I'm putting into the system.
But the counter-argument to that is that you are decreasing your chance of a recovery by being unhealthy to start with.
Yep, I get that. I do.
So they might be throwing good money after bad.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Okay, so that's why you think that smokers, shouldn't have to do this, but fat people, I suspect there's a beef coming here.
A slight beef, yeah. I mean, I would argue that if you're going to sit at home all day long stuffing your face and you're obese, well, do you really deserve an operation? Do you?
Well, they're paying taxes as well.
Nowhere near.
Well, if they're
compared to smokers.
If they're buying more food, then they're paying the tax on the food.
Yeah, but you compare the
transportation used to transport that food.
I just think that there are two completely different issues when it comes to obese people. And yes, I fully understand. We have done this before on the streets a long time ago, where some people would say, well, it's a medical condition. Well, yeah, okay, that's fine, but some people, they're obese because they want to be obese.
But it's also there's a class thing that no one talks about as well, isn't there? You know, that people who are less well off will say it's more difficult to eat good food, and so they will go for the junk food, and it's difficult to keep the weight off when you're eating that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that in there as well.
A significant number of people addicted to food, Justin?
Addicted? I wouldn't. Well, you can't compare addiction of food compared to addiction of smoking, can you?
Really?
Or can you?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
This is great because this conversation already. I love having these chats with you, just because we generally come from different points of view, and I think we both learn a lot from it. This conversation has come on in the last 4 minutes from is this right to I think is there a difference between fat people and smokers? Should they be treated?
Is there a difference in the addiction? Do you believe in food addiction?
Well, I think if you went to a doctor, no doctor would say to you you're addicted to food, but a doctor would say to you
addicted. All right, not addicted to food, addicted to eating.
Okay, but
is the slight subtle difference?
I've never ever heard a doctor ever say that anywhere that this person.
Well, hang on, you're not a big lad that goes to doctors because you're overweight.
But from conversations, and we speak
speak to a lot of people day in, day out. I've never, ever heard that term. But if you're addicted to nicotine, well, you hear that all the time.
You know, well, maybe it's the last great taboo. You know that there's AA for Alcoholics Anonymous, and there's NA for Narcotics Anonymous. Did you know there's an OA, Overeaters Anonymous?
No, didn't know that.
Yeah, there's the 12-step help groups for people who are unable to stop eating food. It's a shame thing, isn't it? They do it because they don't like themselves and they're shameful, so they stuff their faces and then they hate themselves even more, so it's cyclical.
Well, when I'm feeling slightly down, what I would do, I will go and eat a massive, great big tub of ice cream. That's what I do if I'm feeling down.
Yeah. So you understand then?
I've always done that, but the next day, do I do it again? No, I don't.
No, because you have the ability to stop.
It's not an addiction. Smoking is an addiction. Eating food is not an addiction.
That's like people who say, if I'm feeling down, I'll have a glass of wine. That doesn't make me an alcoholic. No, it doesn't, because you have the stop mechanism.
I like this. I like this larger people thing, fat people thing. Should we focus on this? Can overeating be an addiction?
Let's take it to the
streets. Will you take it to the streets?
I certainly will.
Thank you for that. That was like a production meeting on air.
He's gone.
He's gone. See you later.
Bye.
Ta-ta. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there's been an accident just after junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road, so 3 lanes are closed at the moment, and that's causing queues from junction 11 for Dunstable Road. Having a look at the A5 on the speed sensors, and it's looking very busy now, all the way from Houghton Regis to the M1 junction 9 at Redbourne. Having a look in the speed sensors in Aylesbury, it's looking very slow on the A41 and on Douglas Road as well. And on the trains, Abellio Greater Anglia services have delays between Hertford East and Broxbourne. That's because of a points failure at Ware. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. So, OK, we seem to have evolved a topic out of one story into another. Can being large, can being fat, can eating food be addictive? 08459 455 555.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: mental health nurses to work alongside Bedfordshire police officers. Criticism of A&E at Milton Keynes Hospital, and Hitchin singer wins a Brit Award.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nurses trained in mental health issues are being deployed alongside Bedfordshire police officers. It's to make sure the police correctly deal with people who are in a crisis because of their mental health. Police and Crime Commissioner Ollie Martins says it's one of many new measures they're introducing across the county.
Sometimes you have people who are having a mental health crisis, but they may be a victim or perpetrator of domestic abuse, they might have substance abuse problems, and by bringing specialists closer to the police and working closely together, we can ensure that we handle these situations appropriately.
Accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the Health Watchdog. The Care Quality Commission said the Trust had to review its performance as a matter of urgency to ensure good quality service. More from Tony Fisher.
In its annual A&E patient survey, the CQC listed Milton Keynes in the top 10 for emergency provision that was worse than expected. Only last month, health regulator Monitor said the hospital had failed to fully address concerns about both its finances and A&E. The hospital says they've been doing a lot of work to improve patient experience in accident and emergency.
Police searching for a missing mother and her newborn baby have found a woman's body. Charlotte Bevan walked out of a hospital in Bristol on Tuesday evening. Officers discovered the body in the Avon Gorge close to the Clifton Suspension Bridge. Her daughter is still missing. 7 people, including 3 children, were injured in a road crash in Milton Keynes last night. The emergency services were called to Watling Street in Bletchley near the junction with Wadden Way after a 2-car collision at around 9:45. Firefighters had to release an injured man. 3 women, 2 boys and a girl were also hurt. Reforms have come into effect for stamp duty announced by the Chancellor George Osborne in yesterday's autumn statement. Estate agents have praised the move, saying it will stimulate the housing market, but Labour say the Conservatives have no credibility after failing to meet their targets to cut the deficit. Hertfordshire singer-songwriter James Bay has landed the Critics' Choice Award at next year's Brit Awards, following the likes of Adele, Ellie Goulding and last year's winner Sam Smith. The 24-year-old from Hitchin will perform at the Brits nomination party next month and was also part of the Rolling Stones London concerts last year, as he told BBC Introducing on Three Counties Radio.
It was Hyde Park. It was, I guess it's kind of a festival atmosphere, and it all feels like, really cool, like it would. And then you kind of realise that you've got, the Stones are on the same bill. When I played, everybody it was at the beginning of the day and everybody just crowded up to the stage, and I got an amazing response. It was really cool.
In sport, leaders Chelsea have extended their unbeaten start in the Premier League to 14 matches with a 3-0 win over Tottenham at Stamford Bridge. Second place Manchester City won 4-1 at Sunderland. The weather, cloudy with outbreaks of rain or drizzle and feeling cold, a maximum temperature 6 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Opening the doors on the biggest advent calendar in beds, hearts and bucks. Let's see who's behind door number 4. Bernie Keith.
Best toy I got as a child, Scalextric. I loved Scalextric then, I love Scalextric now. When I look on the points on my licence, I can trace it all back to Scalextric as a kid. It's a wonderful thing. I wasn't a train set boy, but Scalextric I adored. I had about 20 cars.
Building up to Christmas with BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's a busy show this morning. No Kelly Betts, instead we got Matt Lockwood.
Yeah, you've got me.
There we go, that was... You didn't need to... He's still talking. I've turned his microphone off. We've also got Catherine Boyle.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, what's with the attitude? The sassy attitude.
I'm always sassy.
That's true. What's on the show this morning?
We're talking about how police are getting to grips with mental health problems.
Yep.
We're also talking about how Milton Keynes A&E needs to get to grip with some problems there.
Oh, yes.
And Justin Dealey's out on the street for us asking whether people have any sympathy for overeaters.
Yes.
He's not sure it's an addiction.
A lot of people aren't sure. For some, it's not an addiction, but for some, it is. And Justin doesn't seem to understand that. And it all comes from this story, which that certain health
authorities.
Thank you very much indeed. Will not be
operating on people who are over a certain weight until they lose 5% of their body weight.
That was it. That's how.
See, that's what I'm here for.
Thank you very much. To finish my sentences when I can't speak. Thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, a quarter of all incidents handled by Bedfordshire Police involve someone with a mental health problem, which is why they're trying out a new approach. As part of a host of new measures, they're going to take mental health nurses out on the beat. Well, joining me in the studio now is Chief Inspector Jackie Whitred, who's leading on the force's awareness and training around mental health, and Gail Deering is from SEPT, the NHS trust that delivers mental health services in Bedfordshire. Thank you very much for coming in.
Morning. Welcome.
You're not happy, Gail, about this time of the morning. First thing she said, what a ridiculous time of the morning to get me in.
I'm all right. I've got my coffee now. I'm all right.
But you're both dosed up on coffee and you're sat here giggling like naughty school children, for goodness sakes.
Absolutely. You've got to be jolly at this time in the morning.
Gail, tell us, what kind of stories have you heard where in the past, not saying the police have necessarily got it wrong, but situations have occurred?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's about getting things wrong. I think what happens is that when someone's in mental health crisis, a number of professionals will often get involved to make sure that person stays safe, and one of those people might be the police officer.
Because quite often, with people with mental health issues become noticed by the police because they've ended up. The situation has gone on for so long that they've ended up in possibly breaking a law or something.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. I mean, I think a lot of the time the police get involved. It's just because someone is having a mental health crisis, and that could be very sudden. Somebody could get up one morning and actually feel quite suicidal, and that may make them at risk. There may be someone who's got a long-term mental health condition who suddenly starts relapsing. It may be there's somebody on the street who's actually behaving in a bizarre way, which causes attention to themselves, and actually the police have to get involved to make sure that person's safe, and if there's a mental health issue. So it's very complex.
What kind of mental health issues are we talking about?
We're talking about a wide range. We're talking about anything that makes somebody go into crisis because either they're feeling low or they've got some sort of other mental health condition. It's very, very wide.
Jackie, what training are officers given around mental health?
Well, our police officers are given some very good training, very good awareness,
But I really should point out what that's about is it's to enable officers to understand, to recognise when somebody may be presenting a mental health issue. So we go out and we deal with a whole variety of scenarios. We don't know what we're going to be turning up to, and we need to give our officers some of those tools just to start to raise that issue. This could be as a result of mental health. It might not be as straightforward as it seems. But there's a really important point I want to make here. No matter how much awareness and training we give our officers, they are not mental health professionals, and it would be very dangerous if we started to think of them in that way. And there's also, there can also be a stigma attached with, being taken away by the police. You heard earlier from Dr. Baxter and the event yesterday. What was really powerful about that was we had a young man speaking about his experiences with mental health crisis, and he described that situation where police officers, he said they were very, very sensitive, but I was sitting there in A&E with 2 police officers either side of me, and I was asking myself, what have I done wrong? And this is somebody at the point of crisis, at the lowest point.
I think that may be Ben Salmons, who I think we're speaking to him a little bit later on, so we'll get his story. And I suppose if you are suffering from a mental health crisis, suddenly a load of coppers turning up, that could really scare you, couldn't it? And make it into a bigger situation than it needs to be.
That's right, and that's the point of, and your story on the news around the fact that we're trying to pursue having mental health workers out with the police. We're not there yet, can I point that out?
Right.
Because we haven't got the funding yet.
Yeah.
However, it's a national project, and we're hoping that Bedfordshire and Luton will benefit soon from a pilot.
You talk about the funding, because the funding in mental health, we hear about cuts in the NHS, although new money's coming in, but mental health has done particularly badly in terms of cuts, where we heard the story last week, which is unfortunately quite a common story, of the young lady who was in a police cell for 2 nights because there was nowhere for her to go. This happens quite a lot.
That's right.
So if these cuts are being made, how is this going to be funded? How are you going to be able to... How are you hoping to get nurses out there?
Well, we're hoping. I mean, I suppose it's not for me to go into the politics of it. However, we are hoping there's monies through NHS England, for example, and perhaps possibly through the police commissioners, but it's difficult for me to say exactly how that's going to come about. But it is a national government priority, we're told.
Yeah, and I think that's why, I mean, Gail and I have been working hard on this subject for some time now, but yesterday was such a big day, and getting those key people together that own the resources, that have the influence to put the resources in the right place around mental health service is such a big deal. And what was really significant for me is that the clinical commissioning groups for Bedfordshire and Luton have really taken a positive lead in this. And, it's all well and good, the likes of myself and Gail representing our organisations, wanting more resources, knowing the barriers that we face, but until we put some more money, some more resources into the right places, we will continue to experience the same. We can carry on training people, we can carry on doing things with the best intentions, but we do need some more resources. And with the clinical commissioning groups leading on the Concordat, the detail that can then go into the action planning, that's where we're really hopeful that we can start to lever some money into doing this.
Do the police, Jackie, do they want to have this training? Is there a kind of a common consensus that they want this to happen?
Absolutely. When I go around and talk to police officers, and Gail often accompanies me, raising awareness, this is one of those areas where they are incredibly excited. They really recognise the significant difference that this could make to their day-to-day work. And that typical sort of 3 a.m. test. That's the issue. You think, when most of us are sleeping in our beds, a police officer is called to an incident, a mental health crisis, and I think we've found out about over 70% of our mental health crisis issues occur out of office hours. That 3 a.m. test, an officer turns up, they are the emergency service that's on duty, hopefully with ambulance service personnel, maybe with some A&E staff, but that is the point where we need that support, and we accept that we need some support in making the right decision. We've got the Mental Health Act legislation, so we will often use our powers under Section 136.
What's that? What does that mean?
That means if a police officer speaks to an individual in the public and they believe that individual is in need of immediate care or control because they're presenting a risk to themselves or others, a police officer has a power to detain that person and take them to a place of safety.
Okay.
So that's where we that's where we need that support. What a mental health professional might do is look at that situation differently.
Yeah. Maybe they don't need to go to a place of safety. It may be that we can do an intervention quite quickly and actually get the right people involved and do something else that avoids them having to go in, because that's what often happens is they're taken, they come in, one of my workers will then assess and say, well, actually this person didn't really need to come in.
Yeah.
Actually there's a plan we can put in place very quickly, and
why is there still this kind of the stigma around mental health? Is it because we're afraid? Is it because we can't see it? Is it because it can be so random? What is it?
I think it's all those things, but I think it's a lot about the fact that we still don't consider mental health alongside physical health needs as anywhere near. We tend to sort of talk about physical health quite easily, but we don't talk about mental health. And if we started that as early as we did, talking to children in schools around looking after themselves, I mean, you're talking about obesity and smoking early. If we talked about mental health like that from a very early age, and we got people, it dispels all the myths then. Because people, you're right, the word you use is people get frightened and don't want to acknowledge, and there's nothing scary about mental health. We've all got one.
Well, exactly. We will all probably, it will brush our lives in some point, and all of us are potentially open to a mental health crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's 1 in 4 people, remember, at any one time maybe having some sort of mental health issue. So that's massive, and it could be anything from low-level depression through to a psychosis. It could be anything, and you're right, it's out there.
Are there other things, Gail, that are being introduced to improve mental health services across Bedfordshire? Are there other schemes happening?
I think there's always things that are going on. For example, recently I've opened a young homeless triage service locally, which is looking at the needs of young people who are facing homelessness. We've got some projects going on around loneliness and social isolation, around mental health. There's always room for improvement. Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's really nice to see you both. Thank you. Are you back to bed now, or are you?
I'm coming in again later.
Always on duty.
Chief Inspector Jackie Whitford, thank you very much, and Gail Deering from SEP, thank you very much for coming in. Nice to meet you. 08459 455 555 is the phone number. You can also send us a text if you want. 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or if you're up on the old computers and stuff, innit, you can send me an email. ian.lee@bbc.co.uk. Let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, 3 lanes are closed just after junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road because of an accident, and that's causing very long delays from junction 12 for Flitwick at the moment. It's having effect as well on the Airport Way, that's queuing to join the southbound M1 from Vauxhall Way, and also the A5 southbound is very, very busy from between the A505 just north of Houghton Regis towards the M1 at junction 9 for Redbourne. Having a look at the A1 southbound on the speed sensors, it's looking very slow from the St Neots junction around the Black Cat roundabout through the roadworks that are going on there, and in Cheshunt on the A10 southbound, it's very busy between the Great Cambridge Road and the M25 junction 25 at Enfield. On the trains at Bellio Greater Anglia have half an hour delays between Hertford East and Broxbourne. That's because of a points failure at Ware. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
I don't know where, Samantha. That's your job to tell us. It's a place called Ware. Guys? 7:15, it's Thursday the 4th of December. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Nurses trained in mental health issues will hopefully be deployed alongside Bedfordshire police officers. Accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the health watchdog, and Hitchens singer-songwriter James Bay has landed the Critics' Choice Award at next year's Brit Awards, following the likes of Adele, Ellie Goulding and Sam Smith.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We've got a huge weekend of live football coming up for you here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford fell asleep from the cross, and Donaldson powered the header in.
It all starts tomorrow night as we take a trip to West London.
And it's Luke Chambers, I think, who's got the touch. Gomez got a hand on it.
The Hornets are away at Fulham, hoping to end the run of 4 straight defeats.
And Cardiff, against the run of play, take the lead.
Then on Saturday, attention turns to the FA Cup second round.
And that could kill the tie now. And it's scored by the substitute Green.
MK Dons versus Chesterfield, and Luton's trip to Bury.
Luton into the second round of the FA Cup. Huddersfield, Newport 2.
Then we'll round off the weekend on Sunday as Wickham host AFC Wimbledon, aiming for that magical third round tie.
A huge weekend of football starts tomorrow night from 7 here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555. Interesting conversations. And what we were just talking about there with Gail and Jackie kind of could, potentially does, maybe not, tie in with what the little mission we sent Justin out. But there was a story that various health groups around the country may stop smokers from having operations until they've stopped smoking for 8 weeks. And they may stop larger people, fat people, having operations until they lose some weight. And it kind of got Catherine and I talking to Justin, and we were discussing whether overeating is potentially an addiction. And do you have sympathy for fat people?
Well, Justin, as a smoker, sort of highlighted the fact that it's an addiction and it's more difficult than perhaps stopping eating. And we wondered whether that was the case for everybody. I don't think what Justin said about people sitting at home and stuffing their faces all day is necessarily the real picture.
There'll be a few. There'll be a few of them. There always are. But I do genuinely think that... Well, let's see what Ian thinks. Morning, Ian.
Morning, Ian. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. What would you like to say, sir?
Yeah, I agree with you completely, and I think that, sleeping in the nude is unhygienic, and I think it's better to wear pyjamas.
I thought you'd come on to talk about fat people.
I had, but I was just thinking about the pyjamas.
Well, I'm glad you can't. Sleeping in the nude is just a perversion. I don't want my bare body on those clean sheets.
No, absolutely. And if you have to get up to tinkle in the night, then it's just unhygienic.
It's drip catchage.
Yeah, absolutely. Where does this stop? If somebody likes a drink, do you not then treat them because they're perhaps addicted to alcohol? What if somebody's addicted to painkillers? What if somebody's addicted to this or if somebody's addicted to that? It's just discrimination. And not Justin says, smokers pay through the nose and they're paying for the health service.
I suppose, is it, if you're an alcoholic, okay, and you have done damage, let's say, to your liver through your drinking... Would the health groups be right in saying, well, we're not going to operate on your liver, we're not going to give you a new liver until you stop drinking? Is that discrimination?
Yes, I think it is, because it's an addiction. It's addiction, and this goes back to food. People say, oh, I'm big-boned, or I've got thyroid problems, etc., etc. I think it's an addiction, and people don't accept that it's an addiction. I know somebody, you'll speak to them, and whenever you speak to them, they'll say, what are you eating? What are you eating? Oh, I'm eating some salad. Oh, I'm eating a piece of fruit. Well, you don't get to 30 stone eating fruit and salad.
Yeah, you often see those programmes where it's, well, yeah, I'm just eating it. Yeah, but how much salad are you eating? Kathy, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just... Look, I've got a lot of sympathy for people who are battling compulsive behaviour. But at the same time, from a practical point of view, the NHS has got to save money. So how can you justify giving a new liver to someone who is not taking steps to control their addiction? And the only way you can get them to at least show that they're trying to do that is by saying, right, you've got to stop drinking, you've got to stop smoking, you've got to stop eating. Do you know what I mean? It's a difficult one when you've got other people who are in that situation, not because of something they've done to themselves.
The other thing you've got, though, Kath, is what about people who do have diseases, which means that they're not going to live as long? So you say, oh, well, you've got diabetes, so we're not going to treat you because it might not be worth the money in the long run.
Don't you think they make those decisions? I think they already make those decisions.
You're getting into really dodgy territory, aren't you?
Yeah, because money's come into it.
Exactly. Ian,
and now the trust themselves are having to look at the purse strings.
Ian, thank you for that.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? Now the doctors aren't just there to treat, they're also there to balance the books.
We know that what Ian was suggesting there is done on an age basis, that a 75-year-old woman who's only got a few years to live would probably not get the same treatment for the same condition as a 35-year-old man who is expected to have a significantly longer lifespan in front of them. So they may not get certain treatments because of money.
And I also think that the quality or the impact of the drugs is something they take into consideration. Yeah. I know a woman who must have been in her early 60s, and she was put on this course of statins, and it made her really ill. Really ill. Terrible headaches. She felt sick all the time. She felt dreadful. She thought, I must have something terribly wrong with me. She went to the doctor, and the doctor looked at the medication she was on and said, oh, no, we normally give this to OAPs.
Oh, blimey, she was on the cheap stuff.
Well, that's the suggestion, isn't it?
Isn't that interesting?
So that doesn't matter.
Well, OK, this is great. This is expanding into so many different things. Should medical treatment be decided upon? Should finances come into it when it's medical treatment? And therefore, if you're older, you're going to get the cheap stuff as opposed to someone who's younger who'll get the good stuff and probably more stuff. And do you have any sympathy for fat people? Do you think that overeating is an addiction and can't just be stopped? There are some of us who can go in. You can buy 10 packets of biscuits, and we might eat a packet of biscuits in front of the telly, but we'll leave the other 9 in the cupboard. Now, I suggest that there are some people who could not leave those other 9 biscuits in the cupboard. They might try to, but they will go and eat them all.
And before you think, oh, he's not talking about me, Justin Dealey let slip something about himself, didn't he? When he feels bad, he eats a whole tub of ice cream to himself.
Yeah.
We all have those moments, but it's about whether you can stop or not.
08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's kind of a medical special this morning. A&E at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the health watchdog. The Care Quality Commission said the Trust had to review its performance of the department to ensure good quality service. Its annual A&E patient survey listed Milton Keynes in the top 10 for emergency provision that was worse than expected. Ouch. Andrew Pakes is the Labour prospective parliamentary candidate for Milton Keynes South and joins me now. Morning, Andrew. What do you make of this report?
Good morning. I think it's another warning sign of the huge pressures facing hospital as it tries to manage budget constraints, but also growing demand. The real issue in Milton Keynes is we're growing so fast as a new town that the size of the A&E, the capacity we've got in the town, does not keep up with the demand that's going through the door.
Do you think that the hospital is doing the best job that it can under the circumstances?
I think we've got some amazing doctors and nurses in A&E, and the whole hospital team is doing the best it can. But we know that in July in the summer, when the weather was good, the hospital had its busiest ever day since A&E's opened, with too many people coming through to be seen. And the surveys I've done, speaking to people about their experience at the hospital, the vast majority say that the care they receive from nursing staff and doctors is brilliant, just that the building facilities are not big enough for what we need.
Oh. Well, the survey focused on the key aspects of patients' experience, particularly on how caring it is.
Absolutely, and if what we've got in Milton Keynes is an A&E which was not built for the number of people coming through the door, we're seeing it become full up as more and more people turn up. Some of them can't get doctor's appointment, some of them have problems elsewhere in the health system and turn up to A&E because they need something done. I mean, what this report says and backs is that the local campaign that's going on to support the hospital, it bid to get a brand new, a larger A&E built so that we can actually deal with a rising population.
And there's no decision yet about expanding the A&E department, not until after the next election. If Labour get in, are you making a promise that the £21 million expansion of the A&E will happen?
My promise is that we will fight and get the A&E in Milton Keynes. We will stop the health review that's going on, and I've been on to speak to you, and listeners have heard us debate that as well. The cost of a new A&E is £21 million. This week, the Chancellor said he was looking at putting another £2 billion into the NHS. If the Chancellor himself says the money's there, I think a small slice of that cake should come to us to get that A&E built so that we're fit for purpose.
Andrew, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Andrew Pakes, Labour prospective parliamentary candidate for Milton Keynes South. Peter's in Walmer Green. Morning, Peter. What do you have a whinge about today?
The same thing as you've just been talking about,
Go on
actually.
then, fella.
Because the Care Quality Commission has stated that, they are also responsible for the problems of the A&Es because...
What, the CQC are?
Well, of course they are, because they haven't complained when A&Es have been shut, and they've put all the other A&Es under a great deal of pressure.
Hang on a minute. All the Care Quality Commission does, Peter, is go round and points out where hospitals are doing badly and where hospitals are doing well.
Quite, but it's a Care Quality Commission.
What?
If you're affecting the care and quality of patients' safety by shutting A&Es because...
the Care Quality Commission don't do that.
No, but they should be complaining about it happening, where they're shut, where A&Es are being shut.
No, that's not their job, because if
I do.
Well, no, it's not their job.
It's not my job, it's not your job, but we want all our relatives saved.
But why... yeah, I know, but it doesn't work like that. That's not the Care Quality Commission's fault.
Well, I'm afraid for me, if you're
I'm afraid for you.
Care worker or any sort of care worker, and you see A&Es being shut right across the country...
They're not care workers, they're a monitoring service.
Yes, but...
They recommend improvements and they praise people when they're doing well.
But But they're supposed to be a caring organisation. Well, they know for a fact.
No, they're not. No, Peter, you're getting... Listen, normally you're...
I know what you're saying.
Listen, because I don't want you to go on any answers or any questions on Radio 4 this weekend making the same point and looking like an idiot on Radio 4. So let's consider this, and I've heard Peter on so many other radio stations, you little tart, let's consider this a rehearsal, OK, for when you do a proper radio phone-in, right?
Right, let me just make my point.
No, let me stop you.
Yes, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
The Quality Commission are not a caring organisation. They are simply monitors that go out there and monitor that hospital's doing well, this hospital's doing OK, this hospital's doing badly in this and this. That's all they do.
I know, but they can make a statement of the reasons why.
They do.
No, well, they don't really.
They do. Have you ever read a CQC report?
I've never read one.
You should do.
I've seen it in newspapers.
Thank you very much indeed. I have. I've read some of a CQC. I've read some of 2 CQC reports about High Wycombe Hospital and Wexham Park Hospital. I didn't read all of it because I think they're about 110 pages long.
They are long and detailed documents.
Boy, oh boy, they very kindly do a traffic light system at the start to give you the kind of key points, and then you can go to the little chapters that you want. And I went to the little chapters that I wanted, and they were very thorough reports. But it's not up to them to stop A&E departments closing or to campaign. They're not the Caring and Quality Commission. They're the Care and Quality Commission. They're like an exam board for hospitals.
Still bad of them, though, isn't it, to raise their points and then not go in and solve them? It's as if they're just watchdogs.
I heard Peter on... maybe I heard Peter on 5 Live or LBC the other day. He's such a little minx. He kind of gives us the sexy wink and then he'll be off talking to someone else. I couldn't believe it. Well, it's probably about 6 months ago when I heard him on Radio 4.
I feel so used.
Isn't it awful? You're right, Matt.
He's got such a good voice. I could listen to his voice all day.
Well, you could.
I could listen to Peter's voice all day.
Luckily, I've got a fader and I can cut him off.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are some serious problems on the M1 southbound. 3 lanes are closed just after junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road, and it's causing queues now from junction 12 for Flitwick, also making it very slow on Airport Way joining the M1 southbound, and the A5 southbound from just north of Houghton Regis towards the M1 at junction 9 at Redbourne is very busy too. But further back on the M1 at the back of the queue, 2 lanes are closed between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 13 for Bedford as well because of another accident. And if you're planning to use the M11 instead to avoid these accidents on the M1, it's southbound, it's blocked between junction 6 for the M25 and 5 for Loughton. In Beaconsfield, Amersham Road is getting very busy between Longbottom Lane and the A40 London Road, and in Hemel Hempstead the A41 southbound is looking very busy between the Hemel Hempstead turnoff and the M25 junction 20 at Kings Langley. On the trains, Abellio Greater Anglia have half-hour delays between Hertford East and Broxbourne. That's because of a points failure. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Wow, the comments, thank you Samantha. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. We're asking, do you have any sympathy for overeaters? Iain says, no, they eat because they want to eat. We all have willpower and self-respect, or unless they haven't got any mirrors. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Mental health nurses are set to join Bedfordshire police officers on the beat. A quarter of all incidents handled by Beds Police involve someone with a mental health problem. Accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the health watchdog. The Care Quality Commission said the trust had to review its performance as a matter of urgency. Police in Bristol searching for a missing mother and her newborn baby have found a woman's body. And Hitchin singer-songwriter James Bay has landed the Critics' Choice Award at next year's Brit Awards, following the likes of Adele, Ellie Goulding and last year's winner Sam Smith.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Chelsea remain 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League after a 3-0 win at home to Tottenham, but Jose Mourinho says Spurs deserve better.
I have to be fair, I think it would be normal as a consequence of the way Tottenham started that Tottenham score before us, and we have to chase the game. I'm really happy with the points and with the performance and with the spirit, but I think Tottenham, for them, is is too heavy, 3-0, because they didn't play for that result.
Second place Manchester City won 4-1 at Sunderland with Sergio Aguero scoring twice. Arsenal beat Southampton 1-0 with a last-minute goal from Alexis Sanchez, and Everton and Hull drew 1-1. Luton have sold their extra allocation for the Boxing Day trip to Wickham, meaning over 2,600 Hatters fans will be at Adams Park, and Luton's home game with Portsmouth 2 days later is also now a sellout. England's cricketers won the rain-affected third one-day international in Sri Lanka by 5 wickets under the Duckworth-Lewis method. They now trail 2-1 in the 7-match series, but captain Alistair Cook is facing a suspension if England are found guilty of a slow over rate.
It's incredibly hard when you only play one spinner, and also you can see how big the ground is. The batters take quite a long time to come out, but we knew that coming in. We tried to be as quick as you can, but we probably were a little bit slow today. I don't know what the punishment will be, or if there is any.
There will be a record 21 Formula One races next year compared to 19 this year. The Korean Grand Prix returns with a new race in Mexico. The British Grand Prix at Silverstone is on July the 5th. And a report out this morning says the Tour de France's visit to the UK this summer was watched by 4.8 million people and generated around £128 million. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The geek in me is coming alive. I'm so excited about a guest we've got in just under an hour's time. I'm getting a little bit excited. A little bit of wheeze coming out.
All right, okay.
Yeah. A little bit of wheeze coming out.
No, that's not the chorus.
A wheeze coming out. Yeah. A little bit of wheeze coming out.
Listen to what you're singing.
A little bit of wheeze coming out.
Don't join in.
Yeah, a little bit of wheeze.
Stop.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
A little bit of...
No. Okay.
A little bit of Monica for my soul. A little bit of Jessica for my soul. A little bit of Annika for my soul. A little bit of Monica for my soul. Member number 5.
Good morning, BBC Three Counties Radio. Hello, Mark.
Could you tell them to stop singing that song about we coming out? Anyway, I'm excited, Matt. Do you know why I'm excited?
Why? Complain about.
What? Oh no!
What can I do for you?
Because you don't remember the ZX Spectrum, do you?
I remember the Commodore C64. What a great machine that was.
Well, that was great, but the ZX Spectrum is being remade, or an updated version of it, here in Luton. In Luton.
So much stuff happens in Luton. It is a hotbed of news.
So they're coming on to talk about that in about an hour.
Great.
And it's a Kickstarter project where you give them a few quid and they make you one. Yeah. And I've just gone on to give them a few quid and make them one. They've sold out.
Oh, no.
Oh, guys.
Yeah.
But if it's you, they might make one especially for you.
Yeah, OK. What's that noise? Is someone brewing up in there? Is that Jetpack? OK. 08459 455 555. Very, very excited to do that. Jamie's in Dunstable. Good morning, Jamie.
Morning.
What have you got for us, sir? You want to talk about the A&E?
Yeah, I just wanted to defend the hospitals a bit. I was in one recently, and they're so overworked. It's unbelievable. They work so hard, and they just haven't got the resources. When I was at school, which was about 20 years ago, we were told the population was about 55 million. Population is now about 70 million, and they haven't built any more hospitals or A&Es. They're closing them. So, of course, they're going to struggle.
So what do we do to fix that, then?
It just needs more resources. It's as straightforward as that. You increase the population by that percentage, you need to increase the hospitals by that percentage.
But it's not just the number of people, is it?
Well, no. I mean, there is a management issue as well. But I mean, it's just volume. It's just volume of people.
It's because we're all living longer, and there are more diseases, and there are more treatments for more diseases.
It's not just that, though. But I mean, the general A&E isn't diseases and things like that. That's just I've fallen over and broken something.
Well, it's not quite. It's not just that.
A lot of it is. I mean, I've sat in A&E, and you've got somebody there who's got a splinter or broken the thumb, or I mean, there's a reason because
if you've broken a thumb, Jamie, where would you go?
I'd go A&E.
Well, there you go. You see.
Yeah, but that's not a deadly disease. It's not more, but that's not because we're living longer. But the A&E departments aren't overworked because we're living longer. That's
no. I'm talking about that. But you know, the whole NHS system is kind of interconnected.
Yeah,
so that puts the strains on the resources.
It does, but I mean, I was sat in the ward. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say old people are a huge, any greater strain rates than they did.
But Jamie, they are. Of course, older people are putting a strain on the NHS because they are living longer.
But just the general volume of people. If you've got that percentage, much more people, you're going to get a strain anyway.
Right, but it doesn't excuse people getting a bad service or not being treated properly, does it?
No, not at all. But It's not the staff's fault. Is what I'm saying is I'm defending the people who work in the hospital because they work so hard. There just isn't enough of them.
I don't think we've been saying it's the fault of the staff. But thank you for highlighting that, Jamie. It's appreciated. 08459 455 555.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the conversation we were having about midwives yesterday, and we had the message through from the midwife who said it's all very well making these decisions on high, but actually they're the people who have to pick up the slack, or actually there is no slack at the moment. Yeah. So no, I don't think we'd ever accuse the staff of being at fault for this.
Now, what's this we've been talking about? Why are we talking about large people? Just remind us.
Some NHS trusts are talking about potentially refusing to operate on people who are smokers or who are morbidly obese unless they change their ways. I think if you are rated morbidly obese on the body mass index scale, you will be told in some areas to lose 5% of your body weight before they'll operate on you.
Wow, you know figures and everything.
Well, I remember. And smokers will be told to give up for at least 8 weeks before an operation will take place.
Fair enough.
Well, they've got to save money. Do you think it's a reasonable request to make? And we were talking about it earlier on with Justin, and he sort of balked at the smoking one because he said, no, that's an addiction. But he did think that maybe overeating was less of a compulsion.
That's about right, isn't it, Justin?
That's where we ended it. Very interesting conversation earlier on, because, as a smoker, I do firmly believe that is a real addiction. It's a horrible addiction to kick. But when it comes to eating junk food, I eat it every now and again. But that, for me, is not an addiction. And I don't think you can compare the two, can you? Can you? I don't think you can.
You've taken it to the... Matt muttering to himself there. You've taken it to the streets, Justin. What have people said?
Well, there's some really interesting stuff coming up here, actually. I had to tread very carefully with this one.
You approached fat people, didn't you?
I approached some obese people, and I approached...
Some of these people?
Obese people,
Some obese people, and some smokers as well, to get their views on this. Here's what people had to say. Lorraine, I'm going to tread very carefully with this because you said to me that you are obese. I'm not going to make you laugh, don't worry. But we're talking about smoking, and my argument is that smoking is very addictive. Eating fast food, eating foods that are bad for you, do you think that's also an addiction as far as you're concerned?
No, it's not. I eat what I like.
So it's not addiction. How can I put this? Is it a choice? Is it laziness for you to choose the foods which are worse for you?
It is laziness, especially on a Friday night, love, yeah. I go in for no way, get my takeaway out.
So what do you eat on a Friday?
Indian wine, I drink wine. I love me wine.
And you're happy being the size that you are?
Yeah, apart from my stomach.
If the NHS turned around and said to you, sorry, you can't have an operation because we're classing you as obese, how do you think that might make you feel?
I think it's terrible. It's upsetting, isn't it? So if you need an operation, you need an operation, don't you? Simple as that.
But if they said to you, for the next couple of months, you've got to lose weight, you've got to do something about it first, would you accept that, or would you still be quite angry?
I'd be angry, but if I needed an operation, I'd probably go for it, yeah. I'd probably do it.
So you've been to the doctors, and you've been classed as obese, correct?
Yep, I am.
We're talking this morning about smoking. It's my view that smoking is an addiction. Would you go along with that?
Smoking is addiction, but I don't smoke.
OK. Would you also class eating fast food, foods that are really bad for you, as an addiction as well?
I'm not the addict, but still I'm obese.
But there's a difference between the two then. So you're saying that the smokers are definitely addicted, whereas eating bad foods, that's a choice?
Yeah, that's it.
Morning, sir. We're talking about addictions this morning. Do you class smoking as an addiction?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Do you also class eating unhealthy foods as an addiction? Is that the same thing?
I don't believe it is, no, not at all.
If the NHS said to you, and you're smoking your cigar this morning, actually, very posh, if the NHS said to you, you're not having an operation until you've quit for at least 8 weeks before, how do you think you might react to that?
if that's what they said, that's what they actually told me, then I'd quit for those 8 weeks beforehand and have the operation then.
So there'll be no complaints from you?
No, not at all.
Well, so most people there agreeing with you.
Yeah.
And what that says to me, Justin, is that we need to educate people more.
Really?
Yeah. Because they, I hate to point this out, but just because some people in Luton said it on the street, don't mean it's fact.
No, it doesn't mean it's fact. But, talking to people this morning that have been classed as obese, they clearly said to me, it's my choice. It's my choice to eat the foods that I want to eat, to drink what I want to drink, and that's why I'm obese. They didn't class their weight and what they eat as an addiction. It was their choice. Their words, not mine.
There are websites, foodaddiction.com, and there are 12-step programs for overeaters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I'm just trying to make sure I've got this right, because I think the World Health Organisation classifies food addiction as a real disease.
For me,
what do the World Health Organisation know, for God's sake? Those idiots, the WHO.
Listen, it doesn't mean I'm right, but I'm sure that, even people this morning talking to me, it's just my view. I'm sure that most people will back me up on this one. Eating fast food, that is not an addiction. That is a choice.
But it's not specifically the eating of fast food. It's the inability to stop eating food.
Mm.
Whereas
it's quantities, isn't it? We're not talking about going to a certain outlet. It's talking about quantities and knowing when to stop.
Quantities again comes back to choice. I think if you go and speak to any doctor, when it comes to nicotine, that is a serious drug. That is a serious addiction. You cannot compare the two.
You can because
you can't.
You can because why can you not stop smoking?
Because it's nicotine.
So how do people stop smoking?
That's a drug. I don't see any foods classed as drugs.
No, because what the foods do is they release endorphins and dopamine in your brain. You are drugging yourself. You are making yourself feel high through eating. You know that you can be addicted to shopping, yeah?
Not really. Come on, not really.
Wow.
I love it.
You may like shopping, but you can't be. You can't be addicted.
Okay, you can be addicted to gambling. Yeah, you know that.
Possibly. Again.
Where's the drug in gambling?
I don't know. All I'm saying is when it comes to food, for me personally,
I love it.
that is not an addiction, and I'm sure this morning that most people will agree with me. You eat fast foods, you eat the unhealthy foods. Yeah. That is a choice, it's not a drug.
Justin, great Vox. What was the other thing we were going to send you out on?
Pyjamas.
Oh, yeah. Have you got anything on that yet?
Later, after 8.
Speak to you after 8. Thank you very much indeed. Pyjamas. Justin Daly sleeps in the nude. That's one for the ladies, and indeed many of the gentlemen listening. We have a huge gay following on this show, which is wonderful. I prefer to sleep in the Jimmy Jams, although I had long johns on last night. The most unflattering of clothing available to anyone, I think.
And if you're interested, I vary my attire. And levels of.
You sleep with a tyre?
No.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there's 3 lanes closed because of an accident just after junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road, and that's queuing now from junction 12 for Flitwick. And it's also starting to look very slow on the M1 northbound past that stretch, with people slowing down to look at the accident. It's causing long queues on the A5 southbound as well, from the A505 just north of Houghton Regis all the way down to the M1 at junction 9 for Redbourne, with people trying to divert from those problems on the M1 around junction 10. On the M1 southbound as well, at the back of the queue, 2 lanes are now closed between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 13 for Bedford because of another accident involving 4 vehicles there. On the A1 southbound, it's queuing between the St Neots Junction and the Black Cat roundabout through the roadworks there. And on the trains, Abellio Greater Anglia have half an hour delays between Hertford East and Broxbourne, and that's because of a points failure at Ware. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. It's 7:46. It is Thursday, the 4th of December. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Nurses trained in mental health issues are being deployed alongside Bedfordshire police officers. Accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the health watchdog. And Hitchin's singer-songwriter James Bay has landed the Critics' Choice Award at next year's Brit Awards. Let's get the weather. Here's Alina.
It's Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Ian. Thank you. A cloudy, cold day ahead. The cloud thick enough at times to give some light rain or drizzle, and a raw feel to the day. A high of 5 Celsius, 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Mostly cloudy overnight. Again, some light rain or drizzle at times. But becoming drier from the west later in the night. Temperatures dropping down to around 1 or 2 Celsius. May see a little bit of brightness for a time first thing tomorrow, but generally still a lot of cloud, and then some outbreaks of light rain mid to late morning. But as that clears away southeastwards, something brighter and clearer for the end of the day, and a high of 6 Celsius, 43 Fahrenheit. Clear skies overnight will lead to a widespread frost on Saturday, but by contrast, Saturday will be dry with plenty of sunshine. BBC Three Counties Radio, I'm Alina Jenkins.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
Well, I think it's a place that has everything.
I love it. I don't think I'll probably ever move away.
Quite friendly. I mean, there's another reason why I probably settled down here, because I managed to make friends quite quickly.
All this week, we're discovering Bedford.
We love it. You know, the atmosphere and the people.
The river, the embankment, the Swan Hotel.
The town's a great town. The river, obviously the jewel and the crown running through it.
Telling everyone about where you live.
It's somewhere where we've made lots of friends, and we've come to regard it very much as home.
Well, the very best thing, obviously, is the river, because I think it's absolutely gorgeous.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks from BBC Three Counties Radio.
Mark's in Bedford. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Ian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, boss. What you got for us?
Right, basically, I think that they should do like a... Basically, draw a line in the sand as it is, the NHS we're talking about here.
Yep.
Draw a line in the sand and say anybody that doesn't adhere to these rules moving forward will not get any treatment.
Oh.
So every year, you go to your doctor, which I know is going to cost more in the long run. I know you're going to say that, but it's going to cost speculate to accumulate.
Okay.
So you go to an MOT, and the doctor turns around and says to you, gives you a weigh, checks you've been smoking or drinking, ticks the boxes, and in effect, what the NHS is an insurance against your health, no matter how you look at it. So if anything happens to you, you will get treated. If you don't adhere to the rules, and in effect you've got points on yourself, then it's down to yourself to go and get the American-style insurance for your health. And depending on what sort of condition you're in, due to your own choices, then depends on what your premium is.
It's a bit fascist, isn't it, having to go to the doctors every year to tell them how much you've been drinking, how much you've been smoking and what you weigh, so they can log it.
But ultimately, that's the only way it works. The reason why the NHS is in trouble is because it's not financially viable.
OK, I decide to opt out of the NHS by smoking. How do I get my money back?
Ooh, good question. You're good, aren't you?
Yeah, you see? How do I get my money back? Because if I've been excluded from the system, then I want some of my money back, please.
Yeah, but it's all about drawing a line in the sand. You can't. There's always an argument for what's happened before and what's going to happen in the future, and that's the trouble. Nobody looks at the actual facts and says, right, this is how it's going to work and this is how it's got to work. Forget the past and move forward. You can't. You know, what you've just said there is giving my money back. I mean, you could argue that you've probably already spent your money. If you've been
all right. Then how do I... OK, in that case, let me rephrase it. How do I stop contributing into the NHS, then? How do I stop paying? I don't pay any national insurance and I get
don't pay no NI. Yeah, you
and
stop
I get a tax
paying NI.
rebate.
Say that again?
And I get a tax rebate at the end of every year.
If you deserve it, yeah.
Mark, can I ask you a question? And please... I say please don't be offended. You might be offended, and I'm going to put my neck on the line here. You sound like a fat lad.
I'm skinny as you like.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You've got a fat voice.
That's because it's early in the morning. No, it's, what do you call it? I probably weigh about, 13 to 14 stone.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I ate a cream cake in the morning, a sausage roll, a pasty.
Living the dream, mate.
Yeah, I am living the dream yesterday, trust me. But today, I'm going to go out, I'm going to work on site this morning, so I'm going to work it off.
Yeah.
But the long and the short of it is, if I don't do any work, I start getting fat.
Yeah.
But the point being is, they're choices you make. I mean, if when I was at school, and I left school, and they turned and said, if you smoke, you're not going to get treatment for cancer, trust me, 100% my head would have kicked in, and I would have gone, I'm never going to smoke. And if they turned around and said, if you ever do drugs, you're never going to get any mental health treatment, a lot of people wouldn't do it.
Mark, final question, because I've got to move on, because I've got a guest on the line, but can overeating be an addiction?
Yes, I think it is, yeah.
Mark, thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. I hesitated asking that question.
And then you plunged straight in.
But, sometimes I think you've just got to ask... He did sound like he had a fat voice, you know what I mean?
Sounded like a big lad, yeah.
Didn't he? Some people do. It's,
What would a thin voice sound like?
Me. I'm thin.
Well,
this is a thin voice.
But yours sounds like a snotty voice. You always sound like you've got guitar or something.
Yes, well, I do have a medical condition.
Let Kath speak.
I told you about that radio boss who called me in just to see what I looked like because he thought I'd be a big blonde.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently that's what I sound like. I've got a big voice.
You
a big girl
You don't
voice.
sound like a big girl.
You don't think?
No. Kelly sounds like a tiny girl.
Yeah, which she is.
I mean, Roberto's got a big voice. He's got a big voice.
Jonathan Verne-Smith. Massive.
Yeah. 08459 455 555. If you want to phone up and I'll try and guess your weight. Not weight, but whether you're big or slim. I've got no idea what my weight is. I haven't weighed myself for... Well, I had a medical a few years ago and I was weighed for that, but I didn't take notice of it.
I judge myself on the tightness of my trousers.
Yeah, so do I.
I don't fit them anymore.
I judge you on the tightness of your trousers.
Oh.
Hey. 08459 455 555. Now, here's something that... do you remember this was brought up in the meeting, right, about male breast cancer?
Yes.
Right? And I thought, hey, guys, we all know that blokes can get breast cancer. Matt, you know that blokes can get breast cancer, don't you?
No, I didn't know.
You were one of the ones that didn't know.
No.
Tony Fisher, his mind was blown.
Didn't know. Justin Dealey didn't know that men can get breast cancer. I thought we knew this.
A relative of mine's had treatment for it, so I knew.
It's quite common. Breast cancer affects nearly 55,000 women annually in the year, but it's an issue for around 350 men every year. The drummer from Kiss had breast cancer.
Wake up, people.
Mike Hickling from Aylesbury is on the line. Morning, Mike.
Good morning to you, sir.
You were diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yes, I was.
Did you know that blokes could get it?
Yes.
We were so surprised when this story popped up in the office the other day, and three of our colleagues went, "What? The blokes can't get that." It seems when you've mentioned it to friends and family and colleagues, have any of them been surprised?
No, because everybody in the world has breasts.
Yeah.
But they're just not pronounced in men.
Yeah. Well,
so you still got underneath, you still got the same sort of physical makeup.
So, Mike, tell us what happened. What made you think there was a problem?
Right, well, at the end of this year, the end of September, right, I was in the shower, just washing myself down, and I thought, oh, there's a lump on my, sort of just above my left nipple. So that was at the weekend. On the Monday, I rang my local Bedgrove surgery, and because of what I said, I had an appointment the following day on the Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Saw the doctor. He felt it and he said, I'm going to refer you to the breast unit clinic at High Wycombe. If you don't hear from me within a fortnight, give me a ring back. Well, that was the Tuesday. The following morning at 9 o'clock on the Wednesday, the breast unit were on the phone.
Wow.
Would you like to come in on Friday?
So they were taking it seriously.
They were taking it very, very seriously. So I went in on the Friday morning just for a day appointment, and they did some tests and some scanning, and then they took a biopsy of the lump, right? And they sent me back in to have another couple of tests, and by the time that had finished, I went to see the specialist the same day, and he said, yes, it's breast cancer. We will operate in 4 weeks.
Blimey.
So I went home, then went to Mexico.
What? Yes. What were you doing in Mexico?
Well, I thought I'd go on holiday if God was coming to get me.
Really? Did you go as a result of that?
Yes.
Oh, well done you, Mike.
And the other thing that I did as well...
That's brilliant.
The other thing that I did as well, I didn't take my old age pension at age 65.
Yeah.
I just let it carry on. So immediately, I've been diagnosed. I thought, I'm drawing this now.
Good lad, cashing it in.
Yeah.
What did you spend it on?
I haven't yet.
Beautiful.
But I've got a lump sum of about 20 grand that I've saved up. So.
Oh, well done you. So what did they? So they operated.
Yeah, they operated on the 29th of October. It was a day visit.
Wow.
Right?
So
you go in the morning, they operate during the morning, and providing you've got somebody to stay with you for 24 hours, 48 hours after the operation, you can go home.
Yeah.
Right, so my daughter picked me up, Becky picked me up and took me home. The following day, I was out shopping in Milton Keynes for 6 hours.
Flippin' heck.
Played bridge in the evening.
Wow.
And, it's... I can't play golf at the moment, but come January...
Are you still a bit tender?
Ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Only slightly. There's a 5-inch scar, and they've taken out a nipple.
Oh, blimey. So have you only got one nipple?
Yeah.
Could they not put a fake nipple on?
Nah.
Do they not do that?
Nah. I mean, I'm not going to do that because I think one of the things about, and the main reason why I'm talking to you on the phone today is to make more people aware that we can get it and go and check it out. So all the men who are listening now, put your hand on your breast and feel if there's any lumps.
I'm having a little feel now.
Yeah, right.
Because we've come on such a long way. We now all know how the gentlemen to check ourselves downstairs.
Yeah.
I can't stop checking myself sometimes, Mike. Particularly when it's cold like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's just 30 seconds, isn't it? 30 seconds when you're in the shower.
And the one thing about it is, if you think about it, I think it was 6 weeks between me discovering it and it being out.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing service from the NHS. They were brilliant.
Yeah, they are. And High Wycombe is a crack. My mum went to High Wycombe for her breast cancer, and it's a cracking hospital and a cracking team there, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really, so impressed with it. And I've, as part of the operation, what they do is they check the lymph nodes.
Yep.
To see whether that's the vehicle that spreads stuff around the body.
There. And were your lymph nodes okay?
Yes.
Good lad.
So
Mike?
I'm clear, but the thing to remember is that if you don't look at it, how much of the cancerous goes through the lymph nodes into other areas of the body and diagnosed as something else.
Mike, it's so nice to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing that, because it's amazing the number of blokes that don't know you can get it. And fair play, he was told he had cancer, he went home and booked a trip to Mexico.
Well done.
I love that. Thank you, Mike.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, there are severe delays because of an accident just after junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. That has been cleared out of the road now and all the lanes have reopened there, but the queues are still from junction 12 for Flitwick at the moment. We should hopefully see that start to ease off soon. Still problems on the A5 southbound. It's very heavy for people diverting from the M1, and that's heavy between the A505 just north of Houghton Regis towards the M1 junction 9 at Redbourne. On the M1 southbound as well, a bit further up between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 13 for Bedford. There's been another accident causing some queues, and the M40 northbound's looking very slow at the moment between the Denham roundabout towards the M25. In Watford, having a look at the speed sensors, and Chalk Hill's very busy at the Bushy Arches. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hey. Bit bruff around the edges, but still. No. Matt, do you want me to check downstairs for you, see if you're all right? I don't mind.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: mental health nurses set to go on the beat in Bedfordshire. Milton Keynes Hospital criticised over A&E, and Hitchin singer wins a Brit Award.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Mental health nurses are set to join Bedfordshire police officers on the beat. A quarter of all incidents handled by Beds Police involve someone with a mental health problem. Chief Inspector Jackie Whitred says her officers welcome the plans, which are subject to funding.
They really recognise the significant difference that this could make to their day-to-day work. That 3 a.m. test, an officer turns up, they are the emergency service that's on duty. That is the point where we need that support, and we accept that we need some support in making the right decision.
Accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the Health Watchdog. The Care Quality Commission said the Trust had to review its performance as a matter of urgency. The hospital say they've been doing a lot of work to improve patient experience in A&E, but Labour's Andrew Paik says they need government help.
The cost of a new A&E is £21 million. This week, the Chancellor said he was looking at putting another £2 billion into the NHS. If the Chancellor himself says the money's there, I think a small slice of that cake should come to us to get that A&E built so that we're fit for purpose.
Drivers on the M1 are facing long delays this morning following 2 accidents on the southbound carriageway. There have been lane closures in place between junctions 10 and 9, and in the last half hour a multi-vehicle accident has been reported between junctions 14 and 13. Police searching for a missing mother and her newborn baby have found a woman's body. Charlotte Bevan walked out of a hospital in Bristol on Tuesday evening. More from Nigel Dando.
Last night, the search switched to an area beneath the city's Clifton Suspension Bridge, and shortly afterwards the police announced that they'd found the body of a woman in the Avon Gorge. The Avon and Somerset Force helicopter was used in the operation as officers continued a search of the area. But there's still no sign of baby Zani. The search for her continues today. Police said the family of 30-year-old Charlotte had been told of the discovery. Formal identification of the woman's body is due to take place later today.
7 people, including 3 children, were injured in a road crash in Milton Keynes last night. The emergency services were called to Watling Street in Bletchley near the junction with Wadden Way after a 2-car collision at around 9:45. Firefighters had to release an injured man. 3 women, 2 boys and a girl were also hurt. Hertfordshire singer-songwriter James Bay has landed the Critics' Choice Award at next year's Brit Awards, following the likes of Adele, Ellie Goulding and last year's winner Sam Smith. The 24-year-old from Hitchin will perform at the Brits nomination party next month. In sport, leaders Chelsea have extended their unbeaten start in the Premier League to 14 matches with a 3-0 win over Tottenham at Stamford Bridge. Second place Manchester City won 4-1 at Sunderland. The weather cloudy with outbreaks of rain or drizzle and feeling cold, a maximum temperature just 6 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Today on BBC Three Counties Radio.
From 9.
The JVS Show.
With your views, your stories and your consumer problems. From 12.
Nick Coffer.
Ellis Jones is a sixth form student from Luton. She's turned her life around with the help of local charity Youthscape, and together they've designed some Christmas cards with a difference.
From 3.
Roberto Perroni.
With the best local news and the best local travel, followed by the politics panel.
It's easy for you to say.
Mark Forrest.
I'll bring you the best bits from everything that's been happening on
Mark,
BBC
Local.
We
made
Today
those best bits.
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
We made those best bits. We did the tricky bit. Not you. You're just playing them, innit?
There are bits.
Yeah. Stop playing with my bits, Forrest. Stop playing with my bits in the forest, Mark.
Whoa.
Hey. Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. The show has perked up today, hasn't it? So, can being overweight, is it an addiction? Is food an addictive thing? Can you become addicted to overeating? I think you can. I know you can. I know you can because I've spoken to people about this. I've spoken to psychologists and therapists and people who suffer from this addiction. I know it's an addiction. An addiction is when you cannot stop doing something.
It's always of filling that hole in your soul.
If gambling can be an addiction, and we've pretty much... We all know that gambling's an addiction. Well, then why can't food be an addiction? You're right, it's filling that hole. It's trying to fill a void. It's covering up for shame and low self-esteem. You do something, you feel better for a bit, and then you feel shameful about that, so you carry on doing it.
And for the people who don't believe in it, I wonder what they do to treat themselves, because you know that's the tip of the iceberg.
And do you wear pyjamas in bed? 08459 455 555. It's...
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
I know you got some texts.
Yeah.
I got an email from Jill, who generally sends in spot-on emails, i.e. she agrees with me, is what I mean. I'd argue that Justin is wrong about eating not being addictive. I know a woman who ate chocolate cake out of a bin after her child's birthday party. She felt so ashamed but was addicted to chocolate. Anyone can become addicted to anything if they get pleasure from it and the brain gets happy endorphins. Justin is young and needs to read more. That way, well, that's never going to happen. That way, he would have a better general knowledge and be less likely to make sweeping statements he has little knowledge of. He's entitled. I love Justin on this show. He's kind of one of our many secret weapons. Have you got some texts?
Yeah, and the thing is with Justin as well, you know exactly what he's thinking. He's going to be completely honest with you, and doesn't really...
He's brilliant.
He doesn't say anything to please anybody else.
No.
With hilarious consequences. I believe food can be addictive, says Julian Luton. I once tried to cut out sugar from my fairly unhealthy diet. After a couple of days, I became dizzy, nauseous and feverish, almost like withdrawing from a drug. As soon as I had something sugary, I felt better. Richard from Luton says, I'm a 24-stone man and an ex-smoker. Justin, the drug addict, has made my blood boil.
Oh.
His addiction to smoking can be treated and stopped because I know I've done it. There's currently no help for my eating disorder other than just being told to exercise or eat less. I've tried and I've failed, just like the addict who doesn't take the medication.
Look up Overeaters Anonymous, OA. They'll help. They'll help.
And Helen in Milton Keynes, as a former 50 or 60-day smoker who gave up overnight, I could say that Justin could easily stop if he wanted to. However, I understand that for some people, they find it harder to stop. I know someone who exercises daily, eats fish and vegetables, but is still classed as overweight as she stopped smoking and the weight piled on. Justin should open his mind to addictions and the various forms. It doesn't just apply to smoking.
I think you can pretty much be addicted to anything that makes you feel better. You can be addicted to video games, you can be addicted to shopping, you can be addicted to sex, you can be addicted to food, you can be addicted to drink. All of these things, if it changes the way you feel about yourself, then you can be addicted to it.
Oh yeah, I'm borderline shopping.
Yeah.
I know if I've had a bad day because I find myself online looking for something very, very particular.
I know, because if I know you're having a rough day and then the next day you'll come and say, I bought 2 dresses online. And it's that kind of thing. It's filling that void. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Got very crackly headphones today. Who'd have thought a BBC radio station not having the equipment that was required? Lots of you talking on Facebook about this as well. Here's a good one. Simon says, nope, it's not addictive, none at all. It's self-inflicted. They're just greedy. They eat heaps of the wrong things, know what they're doing is wrong and will make them ill or even die, but they still do it. And let's do one more of these. I was given, so it's quite a long one. I was given 12 weeks of vouchers for Weight Watchers or Slimming World for free for the NHS due to my being overweight. Weight loss is possible if you want it enough. 08459 455 555 is the phone number.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, a quarter of all incidents that Bedfordshire Police are called to involve someone with a mental health problem, which is why they are trying a new approach. As part of a host of new measures, they're hoping to get the funding necessary to take mental health nurses out on the beat. We're joined now by Ben Salmons. Morning, Ben. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You have a mental condition.
Yeah, I was diagnosed with depression and paranoid psychosis.
Okay, and how does that manifest itself? How does that affect you? How has that affected you in the past?
I mean, it can get incredibly sort of severe to the point of suicide, which is incredibly sort of difficult to sort of cope with, and just sort of things in kind of everyday life really is sort of to the point of where even if you're sort of going food shopping and becoming incredibly paranoid about people that are there, it just becomes so kind of difficult. If you think someone's laughing at you, then you then worry about that, and you think someone else is, and it just...
So it can trigger off a chain of feelings and emotions. If one thing kind of hits you, then suddenly everyone else is a potential enemy.
Yeah, it just makes you... Yeah, it is incredibly kind of frightening.
So you've had dealings with the police?
Yeah.
Because of your mental health issues? What happened?
Basically, I tried to commit suicide. This was a few years ago, and I'd gone down to the railway line, and I did manage to kind of call for help, and they ended up calling the police.
You're going to jump in front of a train? Is the plan?
I just absolutely couldn't cope anymore.
Yeah.
And the police that sort of came, they sort of took me to hospital, and that experience, it wasn't too good with them kind of thing, but then I've had experience. We'll have 4 dealings with them, and
tell us about that one. So you went down to jump in front of a train. You phoned a friend and said,
"No, I phoned the crisis team."
Phoned a crisis team and said, "Look, I am at my wit's end here. I'm desperate. Can you help?"
Yeah, basically.
And what happened? So how many coppers turned up?
Well, when a couple came down onto the sort of railway line and sort of took me sort of to hospital,
right?
And I was absolutely petrified, kind of thing. And when we got to the hospital, I ran away from the police because I was just so scared.
Because they were police?
No, just because I was just so scared about being put in hospital.
Right, okay.
And the experience I had with them then was when they'd caught up with me and taken me back to the hospital. Was the officer said to me, "If you do that again, I'll have you on the floor and in a cell." And so that just ramped up my sort of feelings. But then I was sectioned a second time, and the police were absolutely amazing.
Okay, so what was the difference the second time then? How did they manage to make it a better experience? If being sectioned could ever be a good experience?
No, it's not nice at all. But they were just so compassionate, and I was in an incredibly difficult sort of state, and they were just incredibly compassionate and very calm with me and helped sort of calm me down. And the difference between an officer being hostile and one or two sort of being incredibly compassionate, it helps you so much, because what you're going through is just it's absolutely horrific.
It's not their job, is it, to kind of be... They're not nurses, they're not doctors.
No, and I don't think they should expect it to be that, because that's not their job. The mental health nurses, that's their job to kind of sort of help look after. And I think it's unfair to expect the police to be mental health nurses. It's just to kind of hope that they would have compassion to kind of help you in that situation and get you to that place of safety.
And so, can I ask what was happening that got you sectioned? Why, and how the police got involved in that scenario?
Well, the second time, I'd become very paranoid about a situation, and when I get very paranoid, you start to believe things that aren't really happening. And again, I couldn't deal with it. And again, with my problems, I do become very sort of suicidal. And I'd gone down to the railway line that time, but I couldn't go through with it. And I was coming back kind of thing, and the police sort of saw me sort of wandering back home, and that's when they sort of stopped and helped. And as I say, I mean, they were so helpful that time. I'm just incredibly grateful to them.
It sounds like you managed to get... Well, can I ask, were they men or women? I'm wondering if their gender makes a difference at all.
No, not at all.
No, it doesn't. No.
I mean, the second time it was two males.
Right. Okay.
But say the way they handled it was, incredibly.
So you must be supporting this initiative then to try and get funding to get mental health nurses out on the beat, just to kind of... why would it be beneficial, in your opinion?
I think because they sort of will understand it, and as I was saying before, the police shouldn't be expected to do that role. And but I think the benefit of it is that if someone is in crisis, but maybe if the mental health nurse can intervene, then maybe taking them home could be a better option, or taking them to hospital, and they can kind of assess how someone is, and they'll have that kind of understanding.
I get terrified if I get pulled over in my car by a cop, or if a copper comes up. It's kind of just that thing. I was always brought up to be respectful and a little bit fearful of the police. And I imagine if you are in a heightened state, for whatever reason, that can really magnify the intensity of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, one time I was taken into A&E and being flanked by two police officers, you think, it's awful that you think people are kind of viewing you as a criminal kind of thing, and except you're unwell. And it's a very... it's not nice.
How are you doing now, Ben? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right at the moment, and that's the thing, I'm up and down quite a lot of the time, so sort of times when I'm feeling good, it's sort of trying to make the most of feeling good.
Yeah. It's really nice to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate you coming in and being quite honest. It's weird, isn't it? Because we were saying earlier on, people are still reluctant to talk about mental illness, and I've suffered from depression in the past, and I've had friends. Oh, don't talk about that. Why do you want to talk? Keep that quiet. Keep that secret. But it's still a bit of a stigma around it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think being open about it, and it's something that I really hope people can in the future be sort of open about it, and access support and get sort of help. With what they're sort of struggling with.
Really nice to meet you, Ben. Thank you for coming in.
Cool. Oh, thank you.
08459. See, that wasn't painful, was it? You see, I told you it'd be all right. 08459 455 555. Let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are still long queues on the M1 southbound after the accident earlier, just after junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. Those queues are from junction 12 for Flitwick at the moment. It's also causing problems on the A5 southbound. It's very heavy from the A505 to the M1 junction 9 at Redbourne. And also on Airport Way, it's very slow joining the M1 southbound at there as well. From around the Kidneywood roundabout, it's looking particularly busy at the moment on the speed sensors. Having a look at the M1 southbound between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 13 for Bedford. That's looking very busy after the accident there earlier on involving 4 vehicles. That has been cleared out of the way, but it is still queuing. On the M40 northbound, it's very slow from the Denham roundabout towards the M25, and in Fenny Stratford on Watling Street, there's reports that the traffic lights are out, and that's causing queues between the McDonald's roundabout and the High Street. On the trains, London Midland have a replacement bus service running between Watford Junction and St Albans Abbey. That's for engineering works that will be going on until the end of the month. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you so much, Samantha. 8:16. Oh, I gulped down far too much air then. 8:16. It is Thursday, the 4th of December. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Nurses trained in mental health issues are set to be deployed alongside Bedfordshire police officers. Accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country. And police searching for a mother who disappeared from a maternity ward in Bristol with her newborn daughter have found a woman's body.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right.
Can I show you the headphones? We just thrown away a pair of headphones. Look at these. Look at these. We're expected to let a guest use these. They're held together with sticky tape.
Right. I know, it's ridiculous. You know we're on air, don't you?
What?
We're on air.
Hey, morning, JVS. So, I'm so sorry. Morning, JVS. A little bit of bants.
Yeah.
You're looking great. Nice hair. You smell nice. Usual bants.
Thanks very much. I like your pink shirt.
Thank you. I'm on Radio 4 tonight. I thought I'd dress up.
I saw your tweet earlier. What's going on? Why are you on Radio 4?
I'm on Front Row, the arts programme.
Gosh.
Me! I'll do it properly. I won't be like this rubbish. I'll do it properly.
I was going to say, don't use your common voice, will you?
No. I'll be doing my very best Radio 4 voice. I thought the casting in this movie was excellent. The set pieces were wonderful. Overall, a really good film. I'd give it 2 thumbs up.
Is that the voice you're going to use?
I've never heard the programme before, so I'm guessing that's kind of the level, isn't it? That's kind of the level that they like.
Yes.
I give it 2 thumbs up.
Just talk softly and as if you're very thoughtful.
I think the way the women were portrayed in this movie was very forward-thinking.
That's excellent. That's okay. Yeah, I think you can get away with this as long as you're don't do that whole kind of calling the presenter boss or any of that kind of business, because I don't think that would go down very well at Radio 4.
Samira Ahmed, you are boss.
I just pwned you or whatever you call it.
Did you?
No. I'm saying don't say that.
Can I sing? Should I be singing Christmas Time La 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 La?
No, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Sing that on Radio 4?
No, don't do that.
Should I?
Don't sing it on the BBC Three Counties Radio.
I've got an idea. Should I say? Give me a rude word to say. Give me a rude word to say.
Oh, like that politician?
Yeah. Talking about cockerels.
Yeah.
Balls.
Okay.
What?
I'll say bums.
No,
don't say
you
bums.
Can't. That's too obvious. You can't slip that into conversation.
I was listening to Radio 4 the other day. They had the C word on at 2:30 in the afternoon in a play. Flippin' heck! Can you believe it?
No.
What's on your show this morning?
Coming up on the big phone in this morning, we're discussing this. I love this story, the Devon obese people and smokers story. I'll be asking from 9, should very fat people and smokers be denied surgery on the NHS? Smokers and morbidly obese people in Devon will be denied routine surgery unless they quit smoking or lose weight. Patients with a BMI of 35 or above will have to shed 5% of their body weight, while smokers will have to quit 8 weeks before surgery. Dr. Tim Burke, who chairs New Devon CQC, has told the BBC that he knows it will be hard for people to lose weight and stop smoking, but they'll do whatever they can to help them. Well, from 9 this morning, I'd like us to continue this debate. Should very fat people and smokers be denied surgery on the NHS? 08459 455 555.
Every weekday from 12, Nick Coffer brings you
the wickedly funny Anne on Strictly Come Dancing. Do you know who the real Anne is?
Great guests.
Yes, the real Anne is an amalgam of all those things. We're all multifaceted.
Jasper Carrot's career spans 5 decades.
And then you had to wear a bow tie and you had to do jokes about silly Irishmen and mother-in-laws.
John Cleese is eating his microphone, aren't you, John Cleese?
Great music.
Ow! In fact, I don't even think it had the horn part then.
Great conversations.
I always have said throughout my career, you get me on board, I'll give you 100%.
Have you still got it, Billy Ocean?
Well, the audience seems to think I have.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12. on BBC Three Counties Radio.
What's Matt Lockwood doing? Who's he texting?
Are you texting, Matt?
You don't need to put your headphones...
I'm just sorting something out to do with a guest that we just had. So, behind-the-scenes stuff.
OK, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Is everything all right?
Cross everything today, actually.
Does it sound all right to you?
No.
Well, does it... I
It's one day, isn't it?
Okay.
Just one day.
I sound like I'm across everything, don't I? There's been no...
OK, you're sorting it out via text. That's not very professional.
There's been no hiccups, has there?
Well...
No, weather's gone out on time. Headlines, you've had your headlines. I've put stuff on Facebook. I mean, that's what Kelly does, doesn't she, every day? I mean, what else does she do?
Well...
Make sure I've made you a drink.
Meaningless waffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OK. Got any texts, Catherine?
Yeah, probably. Let's have a look. Yes, I have. Oh, you want me to read them?
Yes, please.
OK, let's go for it.
Thank you so much.
Morning, Iain.
Morning.
Pyjamas. My son was 5 when my partner moved in with us. The first question my son asked, what colour are your pyjamas? I don't have any.
What?
Oh, says my son. Some months later, when we went to parent-teacher evening, the teacher greeted us and said to my partner, I've heard a lot about you. You don't have any pyjamas.
Oi!
Ha, 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 says I. She says, and you don't wear a nightie in bed anymore.
What?
Talk about embarrassed.
Yeah.
Sue in Garden City.
Look at...
Nudie Sue.
Nudie Sue. Nudie Sudie.
And Nick, food isn't addictive, it's the sugar within it that's addictive. It makes the food highly palatable and then therefore easy to consume. You may be able to sit and eat 4 bars of chocolate, but could you eat 3 pounds of carrots or a dozen eggs in one sitting? No, because it's not that palatable. When you quit sugar, you hit the dip where you crave it for some weeks in certain cases, much like giving up smoking.
Two different things here. Yes, sugar is addictive, but overeating is an addictive thing in itself, regardless of what it is you're
It's
eating.
the eating, not the food that they're addicted to, the sensation.
Yeah. Right. Well, we already heard from a woman who fished out a chocolate cake from the bin to eat it. That ain't normal behaviour. No. You know, that is something else is compelling you.
But the shame that goes along with it is the thing that pushes you on.
It's funny. I lived in Ponce, London for a while, and I work in the media, so I kind of thought everyone was aware of all these things, male breast cancer and food addiction and stuff. And it turns out they're not. But it's real. Liam's in London. Morning, Liam.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What would you like to say?
Basically, I was going to talk on the food subject. I was going to say that some foods are addictive to eat because there's actually chemicals and drugs that are put in them that are made them addictive for us.
Okay, but which foods are addictive, like chocolates and stuff?
It's like everything that is like fattening and bad for you. Even any frozen food, any basically processed food.
Frozen peas are addictive.
Maybe not peas, but things that are got stuff in preservatives and stuff like that in. 100% have got all addictive drugs and chemicals in them.
What kind of drugs are in there?
I can't get the names off the top of my head, but I've done a lot of research. I don't know if you've watched the documentary.
The internet?
It's called it's off a documentary called Food Matters.
Okay, right.
And I've also done obviously research on the internet and a nutritionist. I've kind of got in contact with them and talked to them about it.
So what do you eat then, Liam?
I eat normal food, but the fact is that it is addictive to eat. It's some people that eat.
You're addicted.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, but I'm not overweight.
No,
but. I can agree with the fact that foods can be addictive to eat.
I think we're doing two different issues at the same. Yes, I think some foods are addictive, and yes, sugar is addictive, and you're possibly right that there are chemicals and E-numbers that we kind of, once we've had them, we crave them a bit more. But the process of eating itself is an addiction.
It can be, yeah. I reckon it can be also a thing of boredom. Yeah. Or, again, like you say, an addiction where people just do it as a habit.
Liam, thank you very much indeed. It seems we've established that certain foods can be addictive. Of course, chocolate's addictive. It's got chemicals in. It's got sugar in. But it's the process of eating that's addictive. So the question is, do you have any sympathy for overweight people? Any sympathy at all? We don't buy the fat bones, big bones things anymore. That's rubbish, isn't it? And yes, some people may have a problem with the thyroid, and some people may just be lazy. But there are a significant number of people that cannot stop eating. They eat because they don't like themselves or they feel shameful about something. The food is them taking control of a situation, and thereby they feel empowered and maybe they feel better about themselves. It gives them a rush. Then they have the come down where they feel more shame because, well, of what they've done. They've lost control. They think they look ugly, and so they keep eating and eating and eating. Same with drugs, same with booze, same with cigarettes. 08459 455 555. talking about mental health and how Bedfordshire Police are hoping to try and get some money, some funding, so they can take mental health nurses out with them. Kiri's in Luton. Good morning, Kiri.
Hi, good morning, Ian.
Kiri, what would you like to say?
First of all, can I just say one thing before I tell you that, because it is about my son.
Yeah.
It's my 40th birthday today, and my son's listening in the car with my husband because they're doing a school run today. So I just wanted to tell them how much I love them first. Before
You couldn't tell them in person?
Well, I did. I told them before they went out.
Okay, good. As long as you tell them, it's nice to hear it on the radio. It's nice to hear it face to face. Well done.
Thank you. With regard to the mental health, my son is 11 and he has Asperger's, which is a form of autism, and I've seen it from both sides as a child, and also my best friend's got a son who's now an adult. And when you're a child, you can get the support out there. There's my son, when he was little, had to be referred to mental health because he used to self-harm when he was very young, like smashing his head and hurting himself.
Oh, blimey.
And and as long as you work with the schools and that they see that he's not just a naughty child and that he does have problems, because at one stage years ago, before it was diagnosed, you were just a naughty child and you ended up just at the back of the class, whereas now there is the support there.
How do you? Because there are children who are just naughty, aren't there? How do you differentiate between? How do you diagnose that your son has Asperger's as opposed to being a naughty child? How does that happen?
I suppose it was just seeing that I've got two children and seeing how different he was, and also just that the remorse that he had when he did something wrong. I mean, we've had times where he's trashed my house, he's smashed everything, he's kicked us, bitten us when he was younger.
But how do you know that wasn't just naughtiness, that is Asperger's?
I don't know. I just suppose that he can be very good, and that the remorse that he has, and it's just, I suppose, for him, he doesn't have any social interaction with children. He doesn't understand how everything's on his terms, not on anyone else's terms.
Yeah.
And I suppose not being able to get on with your peers makes it, and I suppose that's how you notice it. And I mean, he used to be medicated, but I don't medicate him anymore.
So he's been diagnosed by a doctor, has he?
Oh yeah, when he was 4. Yeah.
4.
Yeah, 4 years old. There was something wrong from day one with him. Yeah, he was diagnosed by 4. He has a full statement with his school.
So what did it say at 4 then? What did the doctor say was wrong with him at 4?
That just the way he was. It was literally like Jekyll and Hyde. Like, he could go from being such a good boy to suddenly everything just. It was like it went black for him. And I mean, the things that he did were just unimaginable at the time.
Yeah.
But as I said, at the time I medicated him, whereas now I don't.
And that's different because I've got a 4-year-old boy, and so one minute he's fine and we're having a laugh, the next minute he's punching me in the ghoulies and he's going nuts.
Yeah, but this would go on for hours. I mean, we could have 3 hours of my house being completely trashed. But can I just say one thing, that with regards to the medication, that I don't medicate him anymore because he's got to learn to live in the real world and learn, for him, he can cope without it because he's got to be part of society, and I don't let him hide behind who he is.
Kiri, thank you very much indeed. Nice to talk to Kiri there. I was, I tell you what, I was holding back slightly from some of my questions because I knew that her lab was listening in the car. So it didn't seem fair to push too hard. The lab was listening in the car, so I didn't want to...
Yeah.
All right.
How do you diagnose a 4-year-old with having a disorder? How do you diagnose a 4-year-old? Because, hey, 4-year-olds, they're really, really good. And they're really, really naughty. They're 4-year-olds. My boy can be an angel. He can also be a right little so-and-so. He can do... They're 4. Medicating 4-year-olds. Wow. But, gosh, there's so much there that's got me thinking.
All right, what is it?
I do think...
And I don't want to make this just about Kiri.
No, not at all. So you're right. You're right. Thank you. Let's move away slightly from Kiri because the boy's listening and it's her birthday, and I don't want to make it about her. And I'm sure their situation is completely as described. But there is, I think, a massive overdiagnosis of kids with mental disorders or being on various spectrums. When sometimes, you know what? Kids are just naughty. Sometimes kids are just naughty.
But at the same time, I know that some kids aren't just being naughty, and it's a great... the awareness of these disabilities, the awareness of these conditions needs to be raised because the parents get an awful lot of flack for the way their children behave.
Here we go. We've got to go to travel in a second. We can talk about this for the last half an hour, the overdiagnosis of mental health conditions in children, because... conspiracy theorist time, but boy oh boy, don't drugs companies make a lot of money by prescribing drugs to children, because then they've got them for the whole of their life. And also, again, not talking about Kiri now, this is now just in general, isn't it a great get-out clause for parents of unruly children? Oh, that Tommy is such a little so-and-so. Yes, well, he's on a spectrum. Not saying that's all of them, but isn't it a great get-out clause? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 southbound, it's still queuing between junction 12 for Flitwick and 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. That's because of the accident involving 3 cars that has been cleared, still causing long delays. Also causing problems on the A5 southbound between Leighton Road now and the M1 junction 9 for Redbourne. On the M1 southbound, a bit further up on junction 14 for Milton Keynes, between there and junction 13 for Bedford. That has also been an accident there that's causing some queues. In Fenny Stratford on Watling Street, there's reports that it's queuing because the traffic lights are out between the McDonald's roundabout and the High Street. They're stuck on red there. And in Milton Keynes on the A421 Standing Way, it's queuing eastbound between Tassenhole Lane around the Windmill roundabout and Watling Street. Having a look at the A1 southbound, it's queuing between the Kimbleton turnoff and around the Black Cat roundabout through those roadworks. And on the trains, London Midland have a replacement bus service running between Watford Junction and St Albans Abbey, and that's for ongoing engineering works. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
The phone, thank you, Samantha. The phone seemed to have gone, I was to say mental, it's probably inappropriate with what we're talking about. But if you're trying to call, do keep trying. The phone will be answered eventually. And we'll talk about ZX Spectrums. Oh, I'm going to get so geeky. After the news.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
With the headlines, I'm Simon Oxley. Mental health nurses are set to join Bedfordshire police officers on the beat. A quarter of all incidents handled by Beds Police involve someone with a mental health problem. Police searching for a mother who disappeared from a maternity ward in Bristol with her newborn daughter have found a woman's body about 2 miles away. The baby is still missing. Accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the Health Watchdog. The Care Quality Commission said the trust had to review its performance as a matter of urgency. And Hitchin singer-songwriter James Bay has landed the Critics' Choice Award at next year's Brit Awards, following the likes of Adele, Ellie Goulding and last year's winner Sam Smith.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Chelsea remain 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League after a 3-0 win at home to Tottenham. Second place Manchester City won 4-1 at Sunderland. Arsenal beat Southampton 1-0 with a last-minute goal from Alexis Sanchez. Here's manager Arsene Wenger.
Well, it was a difficult game against a good side, but overall I think we deserved to win. It was a victory of patience, intelligence, and we kept our structure well. And overall it is an important win against a good side.
And also last night, Everton and Hull drew 1-1. Luton have sold their extra allocation for the Boxing Day trip to Wickham, meaning over 2,600 Hatters fans will be at Adams Park. And Luton's home game with Portsmouth 2 days later is also now a sellout. England's cricketers won the rain-affected third one-day international in Sri Lanka by 5 wickets under the Duckworth-Lewis method. They now trail 2-1 in the 7-match series. But Captain Alistair Cook is facing a suspension if England are found guilty of a slow over-rate.
It's incredibly hard when you only play one spinner, and also you can see how big the ground is. The batters take quite a long time to come out, but we knew that coming in. We try to be as quick as you can, but we probably were a little bit slow today. I don't know what the punishment will be, or if there is any.
There will be a record 21 Formula One races next year compared to 19 this year. The Korean Grand Prix returns with a new race in Mexico. The British Grand Prix at Silverstone is on July the 5th. And a report out this morning says the Tour de France's visit to the UK this summer was watched by 4.8 million people and generated around £128 million. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three
Morning,
Counties
guys.
Radio.
So, lot to talk about. Is overeating an addiction? Do you wear pyjamas? And the overdiagnosis of mental health issues in children. Who'd have thought it? But before that, allow my inner geek to get excited. Catherine, what computer did you have?
I had a ZX Spectrum.
Did you have the Spectrum?
Yeah, but mine was different from that one. Mine had a tape on it.
You had a ZX Spectrum Plus 2.
Yeah.
In that case, if you had the tape was built into it.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
Plus 2. What did you have, Lockers?
Commodore C64 with a cartridge in the back and the cassettes that used to take forever to load up.
I had a Dragon 32. Then that was replaced by a BBC Micro because it was educational.
Then I got a Nintendo, like a little grey box with cartridges.
Games got silly then. ZX Spectrum was... It
was the bomb.
So Clive Sinclair invented it with he was branded a fool for saying every home can have its own personal computer. Yeah, all right, you nut job. Oh, look where we are now. Well, the ZX Spectrum is making a comeback. Thank you to Paul Andrews from Retro Computers. Morning, Paul.
Good morning, Iain.
You're based at the Hat Factory in Luton.
That's correct.
And this popped up on my Facebook timeline yesterday, which is how I became aware of this project. It shows the new technology clashing with the old. You're bringing a variation of the Spectrum back. What's going on?
Well, basically, it's taken 15 years, but finally we bought a version of the Spectrum back, which is a handheld console.
Man alive, this is just so sexy. It's the ZX Spectrum Vega, isn't it?
That's correct.
First of all, why have you done this?
Well, basically, it's been, a 15-year journey personally, but there is a demand. There's lots of people, like yourself, who seem very excited about it.
And so this is going to be a handheld thing. Will it plug into the TV? How's it going to work?
Yeah, it's going to plug straight into your TV. The first version will use a HDMI cable to power it and a input into the TV. So it'll work on most new current TVs as well.
And it's going to have 1,000 games. 1,000 games already loaded onto it.
That's correct, yeah. We're busy working with all the rights holders to get 1,000 games, and all the profits from the games are going to go to Great Ormond Street Hospital.
This is great, because I know that people have kind of attempted to do similar projects in the past, and some of the people who wrote the games were a little bit funny about it being used. Are you meeting any resistance from the copyright holders, or are they all pretty much up for it?
No, I would say 90% of the people we spoke to so far are really behind the project.
Scott keeps messaging me on Twitter. He wants to know, is Minder going to be on there?
I'm not sure about that one just yet.
How do you pick the game? I mean, are you all kind of just picking your favourite games? Give us some of the titles that will be on there.
Well, we're hoping to get some of the Ultimate games on there, but that's not confirmed yet. But obviously, they're quite big ones. If you remember Anic Attack.
Sabrewolf. You can have Sabrewolf.
Yeah, we're talking to those people. We should hopefully have School Days on it. That's a big favourite. And Saboteur. There's a whole range.
Kath's just got well excited.
Yes! That's my game.
Good. Nothing's confirmed just yet till we do the final lineup, but it's all looking very promising.
And it sort of looks like a Spectrum, but it doesn't, does it? Describe it.
Yeah, it's quite small, relatively, compared to the old Spectrum. We've tried to keep the basic shape. We've got permission to do that. And it's obviously got all the keys it needs. But it's also got a virtual keyboard, so you can play games as well.
Right, and is it going to have the tape loading effect? You've got to have that on there somewhere, dude.
We're going to do something with it.
Now, this is one of those crowdsourcing things. When I looked at it yesterday, you had something like £79,000.
Yeah.
I looked at it today, you're over 100,000.
Yeah, we're up to about 111,000. We've been totally blown away by the support of people.
So if you sign up now... You don't, because I didn't sign up yesterday like an idiot, so I've got to sign up today. So I won't get one of the first batch, but I'll get one of the second batch.
That's correct, yeah. We've tried to make it as fair as possible. We didn't want to obviously make too many from the first batch. We wanted to make it quite exclusive. But you can sign up and reserve one now.
So if I signed up now, which I'm going to do, when would I get my Spectrum Vega?
That'll be probably 2 months after April. You get the opportunity.
That's June, I believe. Have you got? Listen, you're just round the. Come on, let's cut to the chase, mate. You're just round the corner from us. Have you got a working model? Can I come and play on it?
Not today, but we do have. But in the near future, yes.
Paul,
you're more than welcome to come and try it.
Paul, you've got my email, haven't you?
Yes.
When you have a working model, I'm going to sign up today because I love this. But when you've got a working model, let me know, and I'll come and have a little play, and we'll do another little piece on the air. People want to find out more, Paul. Where do they go? How can they get involved with this?
The easiest thing to do to find the link is to go to our website first, which is retro-computers.co.uk, and the links are all there.
I'm guessing you're about 43.
Not far off.
Yeah, because we're of that kind of age. It's that middle-aged men. It's the equivalent of like my granddad or something having a train set. It's that kind of thing, isn't it?
It is. I say everyone is so excited. We can't say how blown away we are by the support of everyone.
And Sinclair's involved, isn't he? He's given it the thumbs up, which is kind of unusual because when it first became a gaming computer, he tried to stop people writing games for it. He didn't want them to write games for it. What a clown.
No, he's really behind the project. He's doing interviews for the television today. It's brilliant. The whole thing's just moving forward.
Paul, listen, seriously keep in touch because this stuff gets me very, very excited. And we'll keep the listener informed as to how the project's going.
Brilliant, thanks for that.
Paul, thank you very much indeed.
I can just about remember how you get past the dog.
I'm so excited. Right, I'm so excited. Right, thank you for that, Paul. There's ZX Spectrum Vega, and we'll keep you up to date. And it's happening in Luton as well. It's just around the corner from us. How cool is that?
Very.
08459 455 555 is overeating. Can it be an addiction? Do you have any sympathy for overeaters? Well, we'll do the Facebook comments in a bit because there's quite a few. And also, we spoke to Kiri about her young son who was diagnosed with Asperger's at 4. And while I'm sure that's all a completely legitimate situation that they're dealing with, I do worry that there is an diagnosis of young children with mental illnesses. It makes the drug companies a load of money. Listen to me sounding like Russell Brand. And B, isn't it convenient for the parents who've got just naughty little so-and-sos? Oh, yeah, well, Tommy's on a spectrum. You see, spectrums again. Tommy's got ADHD. There's a syndrome called, I can't remember what it's called. It's something like doesn't like being spoken to syndrome or something. And it's if you tell a kid to do something and they won't do it, that can be diagnosed as something. Andrew's in Letchworth. Morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Ian. How are we?
I'm all right, thanks, boss. What you got?
I completely agree with you as far as this overdiagnosis in children's concerned. I think it's absolutely tied in with the times today. A few years back, my parents would have given us a good smack and that would have been the end of it. But obviously now there's a lot more skill involved and needed as far as the way that you talk to your children to handle them. So there's a lot of psychological in there. If you're lacking the ability to do that, then it's easy to label it and just say it's less embarrassing, isn't it?
Do you think, Andrew, that any of these diagnoses in children can be accurate?
100%, yes, 100%. There's definitely some, but I honestly, it's probably as high as 60% in my mind are inaccurate.
I don't know how you diagnose a 3 or 4-year-old with having a behavioural disorder because 3 and 4-year-olds are completely random. And, I say the wrong thing to my boy. When I hid your little girl's hummus the other day, she
overreacted somewhat, didn't she?
She got really upset. It's kids are unpredictable.
Yeah, but there are certain signposts. A friend of mine's son is on the autistic spectrum, and you can tell that there is something not quite connecting there. In a different way from other children, He's not interested in doing anything to please anybody else. Yeah, that's not different from most toddlers. But there is it's more pronounced in some way. He really, it's the eye contact, it's the conversations you have with him. You're not really having a conversation. He's having a monologue.
Andrew, thank you for that. 08459 455 555. And we're not... people will be hearing what they want to hear, and there'll now be parents going, well, hang on. Well, my little girl has got... How dare you say that she's not got it?
We've got one here from Anna. If you're a radio presenter, not a medical authority. If a doctor and a parent have made a diagnosis, knowing the child, who are you to question it?
Not questioning it. Well, I am a little bit, but I'm not denying these things exist.
We're allowed to talk about it, aren't we?
Yeah, of course we are, because I am a parent. I'm allowed to talk about mental health issues in children. I'm a human being. I'm allowed to talk about it. And there will be parents going, well, yeah, but my little Sophie, how dare he say she's not got ADHD? How dare he say she's not?
You're not saying that.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there is probably... It's easy to diagnose something than say, well, actually, do you know what? Maybe this kid is just naughty and we're not doing something right as parents.
And in this case, we're not talking about a doctor's diagnosis. We're talking about parents having read things, deciding that fits.
08459 455 555. Let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are still problems on the M1 southbound. It's queuing between junction 12 for Flitwick and 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road after an accident, and that's also causing queues on the A5 southbound between the Leighton Road and the M1 junction 9 at Redbourne. On the M1 southbound as well, between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 13 for Bedford, there are long delays there because of another accident, and that's also causing problems in Newport Pagnell. On the London Road there, it's queuing in both directions between the Tickford roundabout and the M1 junction 14 at Milton Keynes. In Fenny Stratford on Watling Street, there's reports that the traffic lights there are stuck on red between the McDonald's roundabout and the High Street. And in Milton Keynes, the A421 Standing Way is queuing eastbound between the Windmill Hill roundabout and Watling Street. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. 8:46, Thursday, the 4th of December. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Nurses trained in mental health issues are set to be deployed alongside Bedfordshire police officers. Accident and emergency at Milton Keynes Hospital has received one of the worst ratings in the country by the health watchdog. And police searching for a mother who disappeared from a maternity ward in Bristol with her newborn daughter have found a woman's body. More of your calls coming up, and the great pyjama debate rages on. But before that, here's the weather with Alina.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Iain, good morning to you. It's a cold start this morning. It's going to stay cold through the day. Quite a raw feel. Plenty of cloud around. Bit of light rain and drizzle at times, but not really amounting to much. A high of 5 Celsius, that's 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Still cloudy tonight. Some light rain or drizzle at times. Again, not much to it, bringing some damp rather than overly wet conditions. With all the cloud around, it'll keep temperatures above freezing at around 1 Celsius, 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Still cloudy tomorrow morning. Perhaps a brief bit of brightness for a time, but generally the cloud will win, and again it will bring some light rain and drizzle around mid to late morning, but through the afternoon something drier and brighter, some late sunshine to be found, highs of 6 Celsius. And as we keep clear skies overnight into Saturday will be a cold and frosty start, but then a crisp winter's day with plenty of sunshine. BBC Three Counties Radio, I'm Alina Jenkins.
Every weekday morning.
You can book your place on the show now.
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
Come on and get some help, get some assistance.
Tackling your consumer problems.
They couldn't trace an account in any of the names or any of the addresses that were given.
For it to be running for 6 weeks and then for them to cut it all off again just doesn't make any sense.
The JVS show fights for your rights.
He came to me and asked if I could go and have a word with said bank.
I had an email from the bank to say that you've been in touch with them, and the senior customs relations manager was most apologetic.
Thankfully, you managed to get your money back.
Yep, but that was due to, obviously, your station itself.
The JVS Show. Weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555. You got any texts?
Yeah, I've got quite a few.
Catherine, it's been busy this morning, hasn't it?
Yeah, this one's from Mark in Bedford. I'm an ex-primary school teacher. It's true there are a lot of children diagnosed with conditions. Some may be incorrect, but that's not to say that all diagnoses are questionable. Some children do have a need for help. I was in a petrol station and a child who obviously had a condition was playing up. As soon as his exasperated mother took him out of the station, people started saying that he needed a clip round the ear, but no one dared say it in front of his mother. As I pointed out to them at the time, idiots.
Isn't this interesting? It apart from the pyjamas, it all and the spectrum. Well, apart from the pyjamas, it all kind of links up today. They're talking about the mental health of the police, overdiagnosis of conditions in young people, and whether overeating is an addiction. There's loads of comments on Facebook. Let me just pick two at random. Lisa says, overeating is a psychological problem. It's too easy just to tell people to stop eating so much, but to some people, food is a drug. Food can be a comfort, a reward, or a friend to some. To break the cycle, you need to look at the way you approach food and eating and rewire your brain. It's no different to smoking or drinking, in my opinion. And one that we read earlier, there's loads of comments on here. Thank you so much for some really good personal stories. Well, they all get read.
We had a text on that one as well from Stephen Bedford. I can't help but think that those people who say just stop eating are the same as people who say cheer up, pull your socks up when talking about depression.
Pull your socks up, mate. But then there are some people who don't think you can be addicted to drugs or alcohol. You know, there are some people who think just stop. You shouldn't have taken drugs in the first place.
Yeah, but at a certain point it doesn't look like fun anymore.
No. Pippa's in Luton. Good morning, Pippa.
Good morning.
What have you got for us, Pippa?
My daughter was diagnosed with an eating disorder when she was about 10, 11 years old. And it was a big struggle for us to get the support we needed. We obviously approached certain organisations, the NHS, the doctor, and it was a bit of a disaster. We almost had a complete family bust-up because it caused such arguments. We actually resolved the problem ourselves.
What were you arguing about?
The questioning that we were put under, the strain that we were put under as a family to go through. Yeah. They were trying to delve into hidden issues and hidden problems. And
so they were trying to blame you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Conflicting pieces of advice from the paediatric dietitian.
It was your daughter, wasn't it? Sorry.
Yes.
She was diagnosed by a doctor, but then the doctor wouldn't give help.
She wasn't really diagnosed. It took a long time for the doctors to understand that she had a disorder in the first place.
Yeah.
I think they probably thought I had Munchausen's by proxy, the way I was going on about it. We finally got to the NHS. We had various appointments with paediatric dietitians who gave us two completely conflicting pieces of advice, which made the matters a lot worse. We then managed to approach an organisation, and we started quite lengthy family meetings together with my daughter. And I think they were probably trying to delve down into what the problem was or why she wasn't eating. And we would leave those meetings absolutely hating each other.
Gosh.
It was terrible. Then we had another organisation that helped us because they thought that maybe it was due to bereavement because she'd lost both her grandparents. That caused even more problems. And basically we resolved it ourselves just by backing off, not putting pressure on her.
Yeah.
And sort of allowing her to have breakfast only twice a week rather than forcing her or making her have breakfast every day type of thing. She's now a healthy 16-year-old with the whole world as a oyster. But we just felt that all the support and all the help we had was a little bit misguided and it didn't work for us.
I'm trying to draw a conclusion from this, Pippa, and I don't quite know what conclusion I'm trying to draw.
It's a difficult one. All I would say, because obviously I have family and friends who have had to go down the same kind of route. I don't think it's for everybody in terms of that maybe the services that are helping need to understand a lot more and talk a lot more rather than trying to pinpoint a fault or a problem.
Yeah.
And I just found that by backing off from all of that and backing off as a family and not putting pressure on her to eat, we managed to resolve it. It took 3-4 years. But it worked for us not having all the support in the end.
Pippa,
I'm not suggesting that for everyone, but that's what works for us.
Everyone's kind of mental health journey is a different. It's different for everybody, isn't it? So what will work for one will not work for others. Pippa, thank you very much indeed.
So interesting,
isn't it?
That's one of the things I really worry about as a mother of 2 girls, because I saw it a lot when I was a teenager, eating disorders, and it's so hard to know how to react.
Well, do you know what? Even with boys now, because you just have to be so careful about those. Oh, you're leaving that? Finish up your supper. No pudding until you've had.
Don't eat all those sweets; you'll get fat.
Yeah, you've got to be so careful with how you phrase things. Of course, it's a bigger concern for parents of girls. Of course, it is. But I think it's also a concern for us. I find myself telling my mum off for saying stuff that might encourage them to question what they're eating.
I certainly notice a lot more of those sort of comments coming from my mum and dad's generation, and it's done with affection and love and a little bit of gentle ribbing as far as they're concerned, but I'm always really careful about body image, really careful.
This is why I love this show. Because we're going from talking about eating disorders to Justin Dealey not wearing pyjamas, and there's no
link.
There's no easy way of doing it, Justin,
No.
and you just kind of have to crunch the gears and move on, and that's why and this is why I like the listeners, because most of them will tolerate this.
Come on, great calls this morning, but also that's why the programme, I have to say, to give you a little pat on the back occasionally, that's why it's award-winning, because you never quite know what's going to come next, do you?
Yeah, exactly, and it's all down to me.
No, not quite.
Sorry. Now, Justin, we just talked to the fella about ZX Spectrums. I bet you were never a computer person, were you?
No.
You're a sportsman, yeah.
Yeah, I love my football. When I was younger, all my friends were into computer games. I absolutely hated them. For me, I wanted to go down to the Old Town record shop and buy some 7-inch singles. That, for me, was playtime.
You could still play records and play computer games.
No, it never, ever interests me. And even now, loads of moments, oh, come round, we're going to play all these games. You must be joking. I prefer to sit at home and listen to Phil Collins' No Jacket Required for the 500th time.
I'd love that. As a grown woman, I mean, as a girl, it was difficult to get invited round to those evenings, but I loved them. But no one ever asked me anymore.
I know why people don't ask you. I bet you're a button basher.
I'm a button basher,
You're
yeah.
a button basher.
Don't be bitter about it. I'll still beat you.
Justin.
Yeah.
Pyjamas.
Yeah, you've got issues.
I wear pyjamas. You don't. You sleep in the nude.
Listen, if you look on the internet and you Google okay, there's some there's some pretty dodgy photographs in there. But in the flesh, you're not a bad-looking bloke. But you're letting yourself down here. Why are you wearing pyjamas in bed? It's not sexy.
I know what the answer to this is, Justin, and it will happen to you one day. When you've got kids, you got to keep it covered.
Yeah, but you can still be sexy if you've got children. I don't get that.
When they're climbing into bed with you and jumping all over you, you want to make sure that you're, decent.
Lock the door. If you're in the bedroom with your missus, lock the door and sleep naked.
I don't want to lock them. Kids wander in at night.
Also, they have coughing fits in the middle of the night. Can you imagine that towering over them? Can I help you out with that?
So
no? Can you put some pants on?
If you went away for a romantic weekend, would you still wear the PJs, boss?
Yes.
Oh,
do you know why?
you're
No, do you
so
know
wrong.
why?
Yeah.
I like the mystery. I like the mystery of the PJs. I don't like naked women.
Oh, really?
I like them clothed because I like the mystery.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anyway, you've taken this to the streets, Justin. I'm sure everyone's agreed with me, so thanks very much for doing that.
Yeah, I've been asking people this morning, do you wear pyjamas in bed? Some very strong views on this one. Here's what the men had to say. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you, sir.
Yeah, not bad. Do you wear gym jams in bed?
No, I do not.
Why not?
Because I'm a man.
What's your advice to men listening to this right now who go to bed day in, day out wearing pyjamas?
Be a man.
Paul, do you wear gym jams in bed?
No.
What do you think about men who do? Be honest.
Bit weird, really.
No, I don't. That's a very personal question.
It's very personal. Why don't you wear pyjamas in bed? Because it's not sexy?
Yeah, my boyfriend doesn't like me wearing pyjamas.
Morning, boss. What's your name?
Brandon.
Do you wear pyjamas in bed?
Yes.
Why? Because you're letting men down. Why are you doing that?
Because it's more comfortable, I believe.
Yeah, but you're not sexy, are you?
No, I'm not.
Do you not want to be sexy?
Yeah, I do.
So why are you wearing pyjamas?
Because nobody else sees them.
Well, you haven't got a girlfriend?
No.
Okay, if you had a girlfriend, would you then drop the pyjamas?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you would. You would have to drop the pyjamas, wouldn't you? Just get them in the mood.
So, you're from Sweden. Fantastic. Let's get the European view on this. Do you wear gym jams in bed? Pyjamas?
No, I don't.
Tell me why you don't.
Because I don't find it comfortable.
If you went to bed this evening wearing pyjamas, you wouldn't be the same Swedish man that you are, would you?
No, I wouldn't.
I tell you what, I tell you what.
Just had an insight into Matt that I don't need.
Go on.
No, it's fine.
Last night I found this hidden away, and I'm going to get it out tonight. My wee Willy Winky.
Oh, no.
I'm going to get my wee Willy Winky out. Yeah, the little hat. And I love wearing a nightshirt.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear my nightshirt tonight and my wee Willy Winky.
You go and do that, but you won't be sexy. Just know that, all right?
I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to send it to you, and you're going to want to come round and kiss me all over, and I'm not going to let you.
No chance. Bye.
Thank you very much indeed.
On that erotic bombshell.
Probably best we end the show, isn't it? Thank you very much.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are still problems on the M1 southbound all the way from junction 14 for Milton Keynes to junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. It's after two accidents, one at junction 14 and one near junction 10, causing it to be very slow. There's also problems on the A5 southbound with severe delays because of those accidents between Leighton Road and the M1 junction 9 for Redbourne. In Newport Pagnell on London Road, it's queuing in both directions between the Tickford roundabout and Milton Keynes, not helped by those problems on the M1. And in Dunstable, Skimpot Road is queuing because of two accidents that have happened between Dunstable Road and Church Street. That's causing long queues in the area as well, with a lorry partially blocking the roundabout. And having a look at the trains and reports of any problems there at the moment, Samantha Braff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. Excellent stuff as always. Really good calls this morning. Thank you. I like it when it's like that. It makes my job easier. Right, I'm off to go and buy myself a Spectrum. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, as always, Catherine Boyle. We'll be back tomorrow at 6. JVS next. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Thursday. It's 9 o'clock. And on today's big phone-in, should very fat people and smokers be denied surgery on the NHS? Smokers and morbidly obese people in